All right, YouTube, we're coming back. Coming back.
Twitch is black screen with no audio.
All right.
Oh, there's YouTube back.
So we should be live, and we should now be in sync.
We should sound a lot better now.
Are we good? Are we good? Everyone good? Are we good?
They have to tell me.
Wow, that's a delay on our end. Holy crap. Okay. And we should now be in sync. Hey, that works.
Yeah,
Yay!
that's good. Awesome.
Woo! 1.75 seconds.
That's a big delay.
That is insane. Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone.
Is Twitch working? Who's on Twitch?
I gotta refresh Twitch.
There you go.
There we go. So I'm gonna.
How's the delay?
Welcome to Talking Heads. There we go.
Twitch
We're good.
looks good too.
Episode 48. I'm Jeff.
I'm the ghost of Steve.
I was feeling pretty good until technical difficulties struck us, but yeah, Ghost of Steve. So, for those who don't know, number one, shame on you for not watching the channel. Mm-hmm. But secondly, we spent the weekend at PAX West.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That was a good time.
A lot of fun. A lot of push-ups were done.
Yep. I think John now holds the state record.
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah. In a competition of one.
He's the Seattle push-up king.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Taking all comers at a bar near you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Welcome to the show. Like I said, I'm feeling pretty good today.
Not too bad.
Little bit of a sore throat. I did avoid the PAX plague, as all of us did, it seems.
Well, the good thing that they had a lot of the disinfectant.
A lot of Purell going around.
Yeah, at all the stations, most of was Purell all over the place.
Yep. Every single booth had a bucket of Purell. Basically, you just like dipped your hands into it. And...
I couldn't tell if people actually had surgical masks or if that was part of their cosplay that they were trying to do.
No, some of them had the medical masks on. Yeah. So, but not too bad. Yeah, it was a good time. We will get into the entire PAX trip later in this show.
Yeah.
So we've got almost an hour of game news planned for the end of this show. Tony, $2.
Hey,
round of applause
Tony.
for the out of sync audio.
Thank you. A little bit off.
All right, let's get to some drinking.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do? I did bring some of my homebrew.
Okay. Tell me about your homebrew.
Okay. So I wanted it to be a really hoppy IPA, but I failed at that.
Uh-huh.
So it's more of a mild IPA, kind of more like a pale.
Almost closer to pale, right?
Yeah, but it does have some like kind of fruity notes to it almost.
Okay.
Because I used an experimental hop in it called lemon peel. So it smells great. It doesn't taste quite hoppy, kind of has a fruity flavor. And I didn't get to fill up the bottle all the way. But
Keg's a little hot right now.
Keg's I think I gotta turn the pressure down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I get about a half a pint each.
Very cool.
Probably we can crack that open and see what we want.
We could do
see
that.
what you think.
Yeah, I'll start with that.
Okay. The quicker we drink this, the quicker we can move on to something that
is worth paying for.
Yeah. I mean, it came out good color,
decently clear.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty actually.
No, I filtered it a couple times just to make sure. I'm not like John. I don't leave whole strawberries.
No whole strawberries in there?
No whole strawberries in there.
It's not a beer from John unless it pours out in chunks.
It's got chunks, yeah.
There we go. All right. Do you have a name for it or not worthy of one?
I call it a hop roll-up because it kind of reminds me of like a fruit roll-up.
Oh, okay.
When you drink it kind of has like the fruit roll-up flavor.
I can buy that. Yeah, definitely a very fruity, little sweet, little bitter, little. Mm-hmm. It's got a good nose on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
You remember in the '90s they had the OK Cola?
Yeah.
This is the OK beer.
OK beer.
OK beer.
Yep. Yeah, that's okay. I think for a first attempt at a new hop, it's certainly a good effort.
Well, I need to dry hop it with more hop, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you were aiming for some fruity notes and some hoppy notes.
Yeah.
And I think you need to go a little bit more in one direction or the other.
Yeah.
I think if this was a little sweeter, a little fruitier, it'd be a fantastic, good drinking summer beer. If this was a little hoppier, a little drier, It would turn it into a pretty solid IPA.
I needed to put at least 2 more ounces of hop.
At the moment, it's just kind of split down the middle, and my tongue doesn't know what to think of it.
Yeah.
So it's drinkable, though.
No,
I've had way worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been to John's house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. All right. Let's get into some beer news.
Sure thing.
Press play there. There we go. All right. So, what's the worst beer? Speaking of okay beers, what is the most interesting ingredient list you've ever heard of in a beer?
Okay, well, this last Portland Brew Fest we went to, I think they had the American Aquarium Drinker. I don't know, did we talk about this?
We might have talked about that.
We might have talked about it already, but they had like what was it, seaweed and squid ink, or something like that in there. That was pretty weird. Yeah, that I know. John and I have talked about breast milk beer, and we've also talked about we'll call it womanly fluid beer. Oh yes, yeah, I think that might have been the yeast part. That they were culturing something letting it stew up in there. Exactly. Yeah. So those are probably the weirdest I've heard of. Yeah. I'll say I've had some seafood and sea creature inspired beers before. In fact, I had an oyster stout this weekend. Oyster stout's not that bad. Right. They're pretty common. Exactly. This may be pushing the bounds. Yeah, a little bit. This one's going overboard. There we go. So, an Icelandic craft brew company is coming out with a beer made with whale testicles and sheep poop. Yep. Now, whale testicles, exactly. Yeah. Now, to be fair, the poop is not in the beer. They don't put the poop in the beer. They use the sheep poop. They use dried sheep poop to smoke the whale testicles. Mm-hmm. And then, after the whale testicles are smoked, then they put them in the beer. Yeah. So, they're not like just shoveling poop in the beer. Yeah, they're basically drying their hops with it, essentially. Yeah. They're drying their testicles, the cojones. Right. The huevos. Yep. That's Icelandic, right? The huevos. I don't know. The huevos. Yeah. So I have a bigger question. Would you try this? Yes, I would, actually. Yeah. I probably would. I would probably try it. It's so rare and unusual. I would taste it. I'm not ordering a pint. No, I'm not ordering a pint. Like a taster, I can do it. I do a tulip. I would try a 4-ounce taster. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, this is made specifically for some kind of festival that they're having over there. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to help, I guess, highlight the traditional things that Icelanders eat. Yeah. I guess whale testicles is a snack for them. It's kind of like potato chips for us. Yeah. So, Huevos. No, WebOS. Sorry. WebOS, yes. Huevos. Who owns WebOS now? That's what I want to know. Well, it was... Oh. I think LG may own it right now. I don't know. I think you're right. I think LG... Because it was also known as LG WebOS. Yes. Previously owned as Open WebOS, which was the open source project to try to save it. Mm-hmm. Also HP and Palm WebOS, which was the derivative from Palm OS. Right. So, okay. Awesome. I guessed correctly. Let's see. I'm a native Spanish speaker. That was funny to listen to. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm completely fluent in Spanish, as you can tell. The cojones. The cojones. Yes. Back the cojones. Let's see. Someone in Discord is saying they may be blocked in chat, which would be really weird. So I'm going to look that up real quick. I don't think we've blocked anybody. There's been a couple people who have been blocked. No one on Discord should be blocked, though. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Who is it that's blocked? Where did the block settings go? Hey, YouTube moving things on me again. Community settings. There we go. There we go. I had to ban former quarterback for the Washington Huskies, Jake Locker. Oh, well, he is kind of a jerk. Yeah. No, you're not blocked. There's only about 50 of you in there. 2 of which with with some Nazi... Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, little swastikas in your name. Yeah. It's like, I don't even care what you said. You can just go away. Okay. Oh, he said it was
the failed start of the stream on the different link. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay,
he's
there
up
we go.
now.
Okay, that's good.
Yay!
There we go.
So
No blocking.
so excited you can chat again.
Yes.
Yay!
We missed you.
That's right. Don't block me. I'm nice. Benny, I could never ban you. You're awesome. I'm from Uruguay. Uruguay, we call it huevos. Huevos. Cajones is more Mexico.
El picante es muy mesa.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, whale testicles and sheep poop.
Yep.
That's
how the Icelanders roll.
Is that a stout?
You know what? I don't know.
I don't remember what type of beer that is.
Yeah, it's just made with salted whale testicles. And
I don't
smoked
think it
sheep
matters
dung.
at this point.
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna say it's probably like a spiced beer. Yeah. Because that hint of nutmeg is really gonna bring out that whale
A
testicle.
little spicy.
Yeah,
A little
it's gonna
spicy.
really bring out the whale testicle.
You need whale testicles to go with your lager.
You're pushing it. You're really pushing it there.
That was a John level pun. That's what that was. Probably a Gose. John with the save. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, moving right along. What else do we have?
Oh man. So more beer news.
More beer news.
Well, this one isn't really technically beer news.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It kind of is.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Shut
Shut
up. Good Lord. Anyway, a restaurant in British Columbia, as we were so rudely interrupted, is starting to take some fun, we'll say Asian-inspired dishes and kind of Americanize them.
Yeah.
One of the things that they're doing is they're serving ramen in pint glasses. Now, they're not serving it in beer. It's just meant to look like beer.
Yeah, so this is still the same ramen soup with
Right.
a broth that kind of looks like a lager or an IPA
It's
or something
like
that.
It's like a broth.
In fact, it kind of looks like my beer.
Oh,
really. I mean,
actually,
it's
that's a
pretty dang
really
close.
similar color.
Yeah, very close.
So it's it looks like kind of a chicken broth color, but it's that IPA golden brown. You know, that approaching the darker brown.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is it looks like they're foaming up an egg white on top for the broth.
Yeah.
So you get a nice frothy head on your ramen beer.
Yes. It's still you still eat it like a normal ramen soup, but it looks like you're eating a beer with ramen noodles.
And in fact, looks like they're serving it with some fried fish over there.
Yeah.
So, which
now, personally, I don't think it would be that bad if they actually used a little bit of beer in there.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's put some beer in the broth. Mm-hmm. I think that would be
make it a little heartier, a little thicker.
Yeah. Maybe put a little, even just like a lager. I mean, you have beer battered fish. You have beer battered a lot of things.
You can get into some weird things though. You could add a little bit of like a pepper beer.
Yeah.
Little jalapeno or you know.
Oh yeah, no,
because there's beers with some heat behind them, and
if you get that. Put a little of that punishment from Stone.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that would give you a nice little kick.
Yeah. There's also a couple that John had on that had siracha in them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
there's the sriracha stout by Rogue.
Exactly.
Probably put something in there.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
There's ways to make this actually work. Now I still think you don't go 100% beer. I think you do some kind of a mix.
Yeah.
You make a hearty chicken broth or a beef broth, and then you flavor it with a stout.
Yeah.
I think it could work.
I think that could work.
I really do.
But these guys pussied out. They just did I'm guessing some kind of beef or chicken broth.
Yeah.
Put ramen noodles in there.
Yep.
The other thing too is that
it looks good.
No, it does. But you know what? It doesn't look any fancier than the top ramen you get in the packages. Mm-hmm. You go to a ramen store. They're nice and fancy. They have like slices of meat and egg and all that kind of stuff on top of it.
I've done that
delicious.
before.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
This stuff has none of that.
Yes.
This is just like noodles and broth.
Exactly.
There has to be some damn good broth and noodles to just necessitate.
This is like college level cooking and you happen to have a dozen eggs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is like I ran out of bowls in college. I'm going to use the beer mug that I had at the frat party.
I may have made ramen in a beer mug before.
Well, you're a pioneer.
I know.
You're a pioneer.
I know.
They stole that idea from you.
They totally did.
You can sue.
That's what patents are for.
Yeah. Did you patent it?
No.
Oh.
No. Young enterprising Jeff was what was more about the Starship Enterprise than
that would be something to put in the old computer.
That's right.
Give me ramen in a beer mug.
That's right. What's funny
instead of tea Earl Grey hot,
it's
ramen mug beer.
That's right. I was just watching the episode of Deep Space Nine where Odo and Wei Yun were on an undercover thing, and so they're stuck in a runabout together.
Right.
And Wei Yun is sampling like everything from the replicator.
Yeah.
And he's got like a slice of pepperoni pizza, and he takes like a chopstick and he stabs the pepperoni, and he goes,
"Yeah.
Well, that was quite filling." So, just mentioning Star Trek and replication, and we'd all be fat.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's no way any of us would look like.
Well, here's the thing: is that in reality, Star Trek in the future, like if real replicators came out, it'd be 90% styrofoam. So it wouldn't be 0 calories. Yeah.
Right.
If there's going to be technology out there advanced enough to just make food out of basic parts, you could probably make it 0 calories.
Have you heard the stories of Voyager production where Kate Mulgrew, was that Tom Paris, whatever his name is, and Harry Kim were gaining so much weight during the show.
Oh, yes,
they had to take it off each season because you're 70,000 light years from home, and resources are low, and you've all gained 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So the production crew actually had to tell them that doesn't even fit the storyline.
Yeah.
We can't make this work.
Yeah.
You are not dining in the lap of luxury.
Right.
Neelix's cooking is not that good.
Yeah. Space
You got to take it off.
I personally wouldn't eat anything that Neelix cooked, but well, that was the same thing with
You'd have whale testicle beer. Don't tell me you wouldn't eat what he
you'd
cooked.
have ramen in a cup.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it's just like Lost, the show Lost.
Yeah.
With Hurley.
Yeah.
It's like they're on a deserted island.
And one of you is getting bigger.
And he's like, not losing any weight.
That's right.
Okay. Why is that again?
Yep. All right. That actually does it for our beer news. We wanted to keep that
keep beer news
pretty short. And actually we're right on time with our normal schedule because we were almost 7 minutes late with stream problems.
There we go.
So, time to transition to tech.
Tech talk.
Tech talk. So, I'm going to get right into the big story, which usually I try to put a couple before, but we're going to jump right into it because I'm sure this conversation is going to spur some chat.
Yeah.
So, Rhett, Steve, and I, John left early.
Should we finish this off before we crack
That's
open
probably a great idea, so we don't have to lose our train of thought.
I don't want to like, because there's only this much left.
So you all can sit here and watch me finish a beer.
There's like just a couple sips left.
I gotta say, not bad.
No, it's not bad.
No.
It's drinkable.
Yeah.
Not horrible.
Like I said, I'd drink it.
Yeah.
There's actually a beer in my fridge right now that I don't care for, and that's the Wild Ride Blood Orange IPA.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's overly sour. Doesn't have any like redeeming malts or hop flavor, so it's like they're calling it an IPA with blood orange. There's a lot of orange, but it's like a mandarin orange almost, not like a blood orange.
Right.
So it's not that savory flavor. It's just this overly tart, and there's nothing to complement it in that beer. So it's like it's okay, but I've had I think 3 of them at this point. And and I've tried it with like different foods because I will usually have a beer with dinner if I drink during the week.
Try to pair
something with it, and it's like, oh, we're having I'm having tacos tonight. You know what? That blood orange can go pretty well. Nope. the next night we had a sweet and sour chicken, so it's a little more savory and whatnot. I had that. And nope. It's too sour. It doesn't match the flavors. It's just there are very few beers that I just don't like, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah. It's going to be sitting in your fridge for a while.
Yeah.
I've had a few beers like that, too. It just sat there forever and ever and ever.
Oh, that Blue Moon horchata that was in there forever.
Oh, yeah. Most Blue Moon stuff just sits in my fridge forever.
Yeah. I don't mind the original Blue Moon, and I've had a couple variations on it that are okay, but they're just okay. But they had one special edition that I wanted one year, and so I got that, and I don't remember what it is, but it was good. So I got 3 of the originals, and I got 3 of those specials, and then I got some like winter ale, which was like drinkable.
Yeah, that one was drinkable. Yeah, I remember that.
And then it also came with the horchata.
That one was Just disgusting.
And I had one of those.
It was overly sweet
and
overly spiced.
Yeah, and it sat, and the other two sat in my fridge. I'm not kidding, for 2 years. And I think John and I finally drank them on the show because we had something that was terrible and we needed something to wash it down. Right. Like, I got 2 horchata beers because I was running low.
Wasn't much better.
Exactly. All right, I am done. Let's crack another one.
Okay, what do you now? This next one, I've had this one before. It's the cherry blonde.
Okay,
it's very good. It's got
have not had this one.
Good cherry flavor to it.
Yeah.
ABV is not that high, so it's pretty easy drinking.
Yeah,
it's not gonna weigh us down. So we can do that one, or we can do the Imperial Russian Stout.
Let's get to the stout once. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to be coherent still.
Yeah. No, that one's actually really good. I've had it before.
Yeah, 4.3%.
Yeah, it's very light, but if you like cherry,
oh, I love cherry.
Then you're gonna love this because it's got a really nice, good cherry flavor to it. Because like most cherry blondes I've had, it's like, it's just a hint of cherry. This one kind of gives you a nice little flick on the tongue.
Yeah. Really pretty color too. We almost got 2 full pints out of this thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Now that's a bomber.
That's a bomber.
That's what a bomber should be.
Should just about get 2 pints.
Yep. Yeah, it's 1 pint 6 ounce, so it's only a 24. But yeah. Cheers, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
it's almost like a tart cherry flavor, like a pie cherry kind of.
Most cherry beers are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad, and the cherry really settles into the flavor.
Yeah.
It's a little hazy,
cloudy,
little cloudy, but not bad.
Bottle condition probably.
But yes. Yeah, not like yeast floating in it, but it's just a little cloudy.
Yeah. But this doesn't affect it at all.
Very good.
Someone's asking what the stone beer is. Now, Imperial Russian Stout.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
This is a 2015 edition Stone Imperial Russian Stout.
Yeah,
it's a 10.6%.
It's a big boy.
It was aged 2 years in a cellar, and then for the last 6 months, it's been in my fridge.
Yeah.
So that is a phenomenal beer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff can pour a good beer when I'm not there. Yeah. John, I can always pour a good beer.
You just make him nervous, that's all.
I just don't like you, so I short pour you on purpose. That's what that is. All right. So what are you guys saying? Mother's Milk. I'll also take your trash beers. Not like Dragon's Milk. Get on the train, join in. Woo woo. Get on the love train. Okay, whatever, guys. I don't even pretend to follow anymore.
To ray trace the beer, yes. As a segment into the next thing.
All right.
Yes.
So, John left Seattle early.
Too bad.
But at 12:15 on Sunday, Rhett, Steve, and myself had a almost 30 minutes hands-on demo with an RTX 2080 Ti.
Yep.
We each got our own machines to sit down and play Metro Exodus for about 20 minutes, following a 10-minute presentation, which was basically a synopsis of the Germany presentation.
Yeah.
Now, this was the first RTX demo that was ran in the United States. So we saw it on day 3 that it was available to see.
Right.
I'm certainly not the first media member to see it, but in the United States, for those who didn't go to Germany, I'm among the first, which... Yeah. Just tickles me in a way that
it was very cool. I mean, and we were pretty fortunate to get those spots because when I found that they were doing this demo, I told everybody on the channel, I was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this.
We got to get And
then they were gone like that.
Yeah,
we barely got in there. I think. Yep. We were a little worried.
We got one of the last 4 spots, and all 4 of us were trying to register. And John got registered and Rhett did not. Now, it turns out that John left Seattle early, and so Rhett took his spot. Yeah. But yeah, it was crazy how quickly those went as soon as it was announced. Because we registered within 40 minutes of getting the email, and 30 minutes after we registered, every single spot was gone. And so we all got to try it at the same time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that happened. So I want to start by talking about what the RTX experience was like, because we've all seen the memes. We've all seen RTX on, RTX off. We've all seen the differences in lighting. We've heard the explanations. I want to start with a first-hand account because the way they had us set up is they sat us down on a machine with a 2080 Ti, and these were X299 machines that were all custom built, hardline water cooled. The GPU was on air, but the rest of the system was balls to the wall, high-end gamer stuff. I want to talk about the ray tracing experience, and they had us in Metro Exodus, so I got to play it. We got to play that for about 20 minutes, and if you pressed F1 on the keyboard, it went RTX off, RTX on, and that overlay was on the screen the entire time. So it was literally like playing the meme.
Yes, it was. They had the RTX on and the RTX off in the corner.
Right, and it was covering my ammo counter, which really pissed me off. So I had no idea how many crossbow bolts I had left. That's a good beer, but in smaller drinks. A larger gulp of it.
Too much.
It's a little. It's almost too malty.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't get any of that cherry flavor. Anyway. So, experiences with RTX.
Now, they did not really do too many reflections on this demo.
Right.
This demo was mostly about lighting. Mm-hmm. Specifically, ray trace lighting versus...
ambient illumination or global illumination or rasterization lighting.
Exactly. And we did notice some. I mean, I was pretty impressed with some of the lighting in there right off the bat, especially when you go into some of these houses. The darks were dark. Mm-hmm. The light that you had on the flashlight, because they gave you a flashlight and they gave you a lighter. Mm-hmm. One was a more direct light. One was more of a glowing, type of a light from the lighter. Mm-hmm. So you can see how the different types of lights also affect the shadows.
Right. So yeah, you got a flashlight by pressing F, you got a lighter by pressing L, and so you got to work with a directional spotlight or an ambient short distance flickering light.
Correct, yeah. And then everything, even the small, tiny objects had shadows, which you don't normally see.
That's what struck me as well, is every single rendered object in the game reacted to light. Everything cast a shadow. Everything had a color bounce to it. It was actually difficult to discern items on the floor that you could pick up versus items that you couldn't, because typically items that you can pick up don't cast a shadow.
Yeah.
Typically items that you're holding don't cast a shadow.
Yeah.
Coins that are left on a table don't cast a shadow.
Yeah, they had that. I don't know if you... I think you did get to that one point. There's a point in there where you can... there was like some hollowed out tree with a bunch of kids' toys in there. Yeah. And you can go inside there and you could turn the light on and you could, like, the shadows bounce off.
You could bounce them off the inside of the tree.
That was pretty cool.
Oop. Yep. So there were a lot of really cool, very little details. Mm-hmm. And Rhett also played with it too. Rhett was a little bit less impressed with the lighting. Now, I wasn't exactly playing the game for most of this time. I was just playing with different lighting techniques. Now there were enemies to kill. There was water to walk through. There was some paths to follow.
That was another thing. I did not see any noticeable difference in the water. And then that could be that the developers didn't have time to put it in there, or maybe they weren't planning on doing it there, but I did not see any difference.
Maybe RTX doesn't have artificial intelligence for water refraction yet.
Well, I mean, they did say that for Battlefield 5, like in the puddles and stuff, we're supposed to.
Well, that's reflection.
That's reflection. This is flowing water that they had in there. They had like a lake and they had a stream going into that lake.
Right.
And that didn't seem to have any effects. RTX on or off. Right. Did not change how that looked one bit.
Also, inside the water, there didn't seem to be any shadows cast. Yes. I did notice that, because the opening scene was you're in the water and someone's diving in to save you. Yeah. And there was no reflection, anything within the water.
Yeah, you would expect to see that the person who was in front of you, who's supposed to grab you and pull you up, you'd expect to see a dark shadow going down into the water.
Correct.
Did not see that.
Nothing.
So I'm thinking that maybe the ray tracing isn't really ready for water yet.
Right. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time walking into darker areas. And by the way, the blacks are black when they're supposed to be. And the lighting does seem very natural. I'll say indoors. Outdoors had some problems.
Especially at a distance.
Yes.
At a distance there was, and I think you noticed this too, I noticed the same thing. Off in the distance, there were some mountains that obviously were not just like a textured backdrop. There was geometry.
These were rendered mountains.
These were rendered mountains. They looked better with the RTX off than they did the RTX on. RTX on, the shadows were way too harsh. They were too. They didn't have a blurred edge like you would see on a distance from a mountain. Right. It looked like a shadow that you would see close up.
Correct. There was no haze in the sky. There was no glow that you would see, and the mountains had snow on them, and there was no glow from that. Now, as someone who lives in the foothills of mountains, I can
see that all the time.
I can see Mount Hood from my house, and the
shadows are never that harsh.
Correct. Yeah, the sun rises behind Mount Hood every single morning here, and it's one of the more beautiful things that I've ever seen. Every time I see it, so I know what the sun bouncing off of a very large mountain is supposed to look like. We've also got St. Helens, Rainier, and quite a few others. There's Bachelor, there's the Sisters, there's lots of mountains in this area. I've never seen a mountain with a harsh shadow cast down the side because the sun is over here.
Yeah, it looked wrong.
Right.
It looked very wrong.
What it looked like was the sun was being rendered way too close to those objects, and it was creating a harsh shadow. Now, if the sun was away and it's more of a global illumination, it looked better. And that's global illumination is.
And then when you turned global illumination on and RTX off, it looked a lot better.
Correct. So going into the indoor spaces, like I said, or like Steve said, every single object casts a shadow. And that was really cool to see. And moving your light around and seeing everything react to it. That was
really, really cool.
And seeing the shadows soften up as they got further away, and things that are on the leading edge of it had very sharp lines that diffused out.
It was the most accurate I've ever seen shadows being depicted in the game I've ever seen.
Right, in a room.
In a room,
in a room.
I would say in a room.
Most accurate shadows ever.
Yeah.
Outdoors, it's got some work to do.
Yes.
I would say.
Yeah. I will say, one caveat with the outside. Yeah. I would say that some of the shadows in the plants, like the small shrubs plants, that was very cool.
Yes. As you're walking through, so I've got a gun out in front of me, and as I'm walking through, the plants are casting shadows onto the gun. Again, because my gun is a rendered object in the game, which means it reacts to light. It reacts to color differences. Yeah. There was a green cast on my gun at times when I'm walking through the forest. You could see every individual leaf being shadows cast or not cast, and they were fading accurately. Yeah. It was beautiful. It really was. Is ray tracing enough of a technology to make it worth buying? We'll finish up with performance.
Yeah.
Is it a game changer in the way games are rendered today? Is it a technology that you should invest in today if you're a gamer? Not if you're a developer, but if you're a gamer.
I personally would say no. Not at the cost that they're asking. If they came down, if it was like a, just like the 900 series to the 10 series, that was a substantial upgrade. That cost made sense to me if you wanted to be an early adopter.
Yep.
This one does not make sense to me. This is almost like Hairworks level.
Yeah,
where it's okay. It's a little bit better than Hairworks. Let me just preference that.
And I think it's going to be implemented better. It's more of a global standard rather than a.
I think it's more groundbreaking.
Look how good Gerald's hair looks.
I think it's more groundbreaking than Hairworks. But again, it has to be implemented. Right now, there's only 11 games that are
11 launch titles.
Yeah.
There's 25 in total that implement some form of RTX, whether it's the tensor cores or DLSS upscaling or whatever else. There's only 11 games that call for ray tracing.
Yeah, and just to reiterate before, there was no reflections on this, because that was one thing that I think is the most impressive thing about the ray tracing technology that they touted is the actual reflections.
Right. Everyone's seen the Battlefield 5 trailer with the explosion reflection in the guy's eye and the glossy finish on the car being washed by a wall of fire. Yeah. Those are incredibly impressive. I didn't notice any reflections in the water, and I didn't find one reflective surface in the game.
I think that this demo was all about...
And I think that was on purpose.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too as well.
So if you didn't catch it, we're alluding to performance there.
Yes.
So how do I jump into this?
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
The performance was not good. Immediately, I knew that this was sub 60 frames per second. First thing I noticed when I was just moving my gun around, just like, that frame chop. I
Yeah.
just did not like
So Regan, why didn't they just make ray tracing quadros? Well, they do now. They have RTX quadros.
Yeah.
So performance-wise, I found out later. I had suspected we were playing at 1440p. That was my guess in the car.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should say, on top of confiscating all our phones.
Oh, right.
Cameras,
Yeah, let's start with walking into the room.
Yes.
So, walking into the room, we had to show identification that we were with the news organization that we claimed, which is pretty standard for these kind of closed conferences. Yeah. And we had to put all of our cameras or any recording devices off to the side on a table where they would watch them.
Yeah.
And so I walked in and I went, okay, I've got my shoulder rig. Okay, I've got my cell phone. I've got my GoPro. I've got my audio recorder.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So I set everything on the table. We went over and we watched a 10-minute synopsis of the Germany presentation, which was what is RTX and what's a gig array and why did we come up with that? And then there's RTX ops and there's this and there's that. So before we got into the gameplay, so after he had explained all that, he goes, now you're going to be playing Metro Exodus, an early release title with beta drivers. He goes, absolutely no benchmarking.
Yeah.
Do not open a benchmark utility. Do not go to the desktop. Do not look at game settings. Do
Yeah,
not
don't
press
come to-
escape on your keyboard.
Yeah.
Or I will break your knuckles.
Yeah. It was basically that. Yeah.
No recording. No measuring performance. No looking at settings. No trying to suss out what things are. You're just looking at the lighting.
All you can do is all you can use for measurement is your eyeballs.
Exactly.
That's about it.
So we went in there and they had some 27-inch screens set up, which I had thought were 1440, but thinking back later, I had started to assume they were 1080.
I think they were 1080. And they weren't even G-Sync monitors.
They were not G-Sync monitors. That was my other thing. Yeah. Was they were not G-Sync panels because there was some screen tearing going on.
I did notice some screen tearing right at the beginning.
And if they're screen tearing, if they are G-Sync monitors, that means they're under the 35 FPS limit for G-Sync to actually work, which is not a good sign, number one. Number two, if they didn't use G-Sync monitors and we're seeing screen tearing, that means we're probably below 60 FPS.
Yes.
Now, you went side to side on the camera
Yes.
quite a few times. I didn't do that test, but what did you think of?
Okay. First, you can tell right away by doing that the frame rate was really low.
Yeah.
And that's where you definitely get to see some screen tearing.
Yep.
When you do that, that's like
that quick side to side. And I do that in a lot of my testing. I don't know why I didn't think to do that here.
Yeah. But yeah, that clued me in right away that this was not a G-Sync monitor.
Right.
I didn't think it was sub 30 frames per second. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like maybe 45, 50 or something like that. Because it kind of made me a little dizzy actually. Just because I'm so used to the 60 frames per second.
So we found out later they're 1080p panels. And there's actually a report on Tweaktown that was posted earlier today that the Metro Exodus RTX demo ran at 1080p and was averaging 40 FPS.
Yep, we were right.
We had it dead to rights. I said in the car on the way back, I think that was about 45.
Yeah.
My eye is telling me 45.
Yeah.
My eye is not telling me 60 or 30. It's about 40, 45. I might even be on camera recording that, but my battery died, so I don't know. But, according to some authorities, this is running at about 40 FPS, and that's very close to what my perception was.
And I'm not too sure where they got this screenshot, because they obviously went into the settings menu.
They obviously went into the settings menu, and they obviously snuck a camera in.
Yeah.
Because this is the room that we were in.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So someone's getting fired or someone's getting their knuckles broken. It's what's happening.
Yeah. Who knows where that picture came from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of surprised why. I mean, this one says Hairworks was turned on. I can see why Tessellation would be turned on, but Hairworks, I didn't really notice anything with Hairworks.
No.
Oh, wait, you know what I take
the feathers and the...
Not only that, they also had that big bear creature, too, that came out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hair on his back, too.
Yeah, they had feathers in the caps of a lot of the enemies. They were like wearing skulls, and they had these hairdress kind of things.
Yeah.
And also the girl who saves you at the beginning.
That's true.
She had some flowing locks to her.
That's right.
But again, I don't think that was where we were seeing the performance hit there.
No.
Now this was also using physics acceleration. but, ooh, 40 FPS on a 2080 Ti. And we did confirm we were playing on 2080 Ti's.
Yeah. So, yeah, a big performance hit there.
So
now, they did say they were beta drivers, and they also did say that the developers did not have too much time to implement this, so there could be some performance boosts.
Okay, let's see. It's September 5th. These cards are available at retail in 14 days.
Yeah. So that's just, I know. Just like any early adopters, you're going to get screwed.
You're going to get screwed.
You're going to get screwed. You're going to have to wait for any kind of performance boost. You'll be the first ones to have it.
Yep.
And you'll be playing at 45 frames per second.
That's right. And when your light flashes before your eyes, I'm assuming at 40 FPS.
Well, okay. There was a point that you made that I think might explain some of the low performance too, and there's no way we can confirm this.
So, again, I mentioned at the beginning of this talk that RTX on and off was imprinted on our screen at all times, and we had a hotkey assigned to F1 that we could go between RTX on and RTX off, and it looked exactly like the demos on stage did. Like it was frame perfect, instantaneous. I think what was going on is they were doing global illumination rendering and RTX rendering at the same time.
So you can switch things really
So you could switch things that quickly because it literally was frame perfect. It didn't like you hit F1 and you get like a blackout screen for a second and you're watching for rendering to change or it's reloading the map or it was click, 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 click. You could do it that quick and it just went.
Yeah.
And so I think they were rendering both lighting effects at the same time.
Yeah. So because with the global illumination, shadows have to be mapped. There's a texture that goes along with that shadow map. Those have to be loaded into memory. So with RTX, those do not have to be loaded into memory.
Right.
So you would think there's probably, you were probably right, that probably both of them were loaded into memory at the same time. Could have been the reason for the performance hit. Don't really know. Very hard to say.
So that's my one aha. Maybe this isn't as bad as we all think because to NVIDIA's credit, they really are trying to push the technology rather than the performance gains or anything like that, which is why there's no official numbers for CUDA cores or memory speed or anything. Yeah. All we have is, there are CUDA core numbers, but there's not frequency numbers. There's not, I talked to two separate add-in board partners at PAX this weekend, and none of them could confirm what frequencies or temperatures or memory speeds or anything like that.
There's a good chance they don't even know.
They don't even know. Yeah. Now, I talked to one guy, and I said, so do you have any final numbers for this? He goes, no. I said, do you have any estimates that you're hitting? He goes, no.
Yeah.
I said, do you know what temperature targets you're aiming for? He goes, we're aiming mid-70s, but beyond that, I really can't answer. And I said, just so we're clear, I have to ask these questions. And I know you have to tell me you don't know yet. Is that the vibe I'm getting? He goes, that's absolutely right, and thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I said, cool. I just want to know, we have to go through these motions because I have to be true to my audience. And he goes, I hope you know that I just can't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vibe I got is no one has final numbers yet.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they don't even know what numbers print on their boxes yet. But yeah, I think both lighting techniques were being rendered at the same time, which would explain a little bit of the performance gap. Right. Not all of it, but a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't think this is going to be as bad as Hairworks. I think this will be used by developers as time goes on. Because I guess the overhead for it is you tell it where your light sources are at and what the lighting sources are, and you tell it what objects are in the game and what they should be emulating. So, this is a piece of wood, this is a piece of metal, this is a piece of glass.
If you really look at what it takes to get accurate looking shadows in the game, it's very time consuming. Yeah. And very expensive in some cases. So with this RTX technology, especially with just the lighting portion of it, and just being able to put your lights in a area and then letting RTX render it for you is a huge time saver.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they the theory is you tell it what materials you're using and you tell it what your light sources are, and it does the work for you. Yeah. And I really do believe NVIDIA when they say that. I believe that they've made this implementation simple from a development and cost standpoint. Yeah. What I don't know is if RTX is ready for prime time.
It seems like needs to be some tweaking. We don't know because even with this settings screen right here, we don't know if there's any additional settings for RTX itself.
Right.
the developer may have options to say, hey, I want distance shadows to be softer or harsher or whatever. We don't know. There could be a slider for that type of a thing.
Right. Yeah, there might be an accuracy thing. There might be an intensity thing.
We don't know.
There might be a way to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So you say use global illumination at 400 meters and everything inside of it. So your mountains would be global illuminated and inside would be RTX.
Yeah.
And things like that would be fine.
Yeah.
Now, we do know that there's a rumor going around that the reason Battlefield 5 has been delayed until the end of November is potentially because they're trying to dial back the eye candy so they can focus on 60 FPS rather than looking pretty for NVIDIA's demo.
Now, to be honest, some of the feedback I've heard from the early alpha testers of the game is there are some game features that just make it not fun at all.
Yes. So, and that's what I've heard as well.
It could also be
that there's some game balance features. Yeah. There's some concerns with in-app purchasing and microtransactions. There's some concerns with playability and game modes, and on top of performance issues with RTX.
Right.
Now, to be clear, only like 5% of you are going to be playing with RTX.
Yeah.
So I think the reason this was delayed was also for those gameplay issues. But if they're going to screw over RTX customers by giving them 30 FPS on their $1,200 graphics card, that's a reason to start tweaking things.
Yeah.
You can make them as pretty as you want on a demo that's on a stage, but it has to be playable by the end user.
Right, yeah. People are going to get that the 2070 or something like that, cranking up that RTX.
Going to 20 FPS.
And then it goes to 20 FPS. They're going to be pretty pissed.
And see, that's the one that worries me. I think gaming-wise, if you're looking to upgrade from a 1070 or a 970 or 980 or 980 Ti, I think the 2070 is going to be the card to get just based on raw specs that I've seen. It's the largest jump for a 70 series ever.
Yeah.
Almost a 50% performance increase from the standard 70 series to what this is in the lineup. Just my own estimation. I hope I'm right in the benchmarks, but my raw numbers say about 50%. I think it was 48%.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
So I think that's going to be the card to get. That's going to be the top dog as far as if you want best bang for your buck, performance per dollar. 2070.
But we don't know how the RTX performs on it.
But I know it performs half as well in RTX as the 2080
Ti did not bode too well.
No, it didn't.
It did not. And this wasn't reflections we were talking about here.
Right.
We were just looking at shadows.
Right. Yeah, this was just shadow casting from 2 different light sources or 4 different light sources that were in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, not the
early adopters beware, but then there's some people who they're just early adopters because they got more money than sense, but whatever.
Yep. And to be clear, I don't think you're going to need to use ray tracing on the 2070.
Right.
If you want to use global illumination, heck it's probably going to beat a 1080 Ti.
Oh yeah,
it probably is.
Yeah, turn ray tracing off, and you're going to be fine. You're going to have a really great.
I'm going to take that back. I think it's going to beat a 1080. I don't think it's going to beat a 1080 Ti.
No, I don't think it'll beat a 1080 Ti.
Right, but it's going to beat a 1080.
Yeah.
1080 has 2,560 CUDA cores. A 2070 has 2506.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's 2406 or something.
Okay.
It's within 100 CUDA cores, and
close.
if you figure 8% year over year generational improvements, it's going to beat a 1080.
Yeah.
Plus the GDDR6 instead of 5X.
Yeah, you're going to see some performance boosts.
It's going to be faster than a 1080.
Yeah.
And not by a small margin.
It'll be a good upgrade. Like especially if you're still stuck in the 900 series.
Oh yeah,
that would be a great upgrade.
Oh, if you're stuck on a 970, and the only problem is $600.
Yes,
it's an expensive card.
I mean, it's not even. It's a $600 card, and it's not even the highest tier.
Right.
That hurts. Yep. Man. So I would probably wait to see.
Is it just the camera, or are they both missing their outer half of their eyebrows? I have this problem where my eyebrows are lighter on the outside, and so I get these dark shadows on the inside, and then it kind of fades. And
you
do too.
It's
as well.
a camera thing.
It's a camera and a lighting setup thing.
Next time we'll come on with kabuki makeup, and you won't see it.
See here.
Yeah.
Is this a little better? They're there. So part of it's my glasses. Is my eyebrows fade down into my glasses sometimes, and so you might see the bridge of my eyebrow, but you won't see the tail of it because of my glasses frame. So, yep, I have a 970. I feel targeted.
Yeah. No,
Well,
it's okay. I have a 972.
That's right. I got a lot more than that.
I know you do.
I don't have a 1080 Ti. I have a 1080. I have a 1070 Ti.
What would you recommend, a Titan or a 2080 Ti?
2080 Ti.
2080 Ti, definitely.
Yep.
I mean,
there's going to be no question. It's going to be the performance king. People are getting over their skis on, well, with RTX, it's going to to be 40 FPS.
Right.
Turn RTX off, and you'll blow every freaking card out of the water by 30%.
We're looking at performance with RTX turned on.
Right. There is going to be a massive, massive performance gain to the 2080 Ti.
Yeah, that was another thing we didn't say about the Exodus demo, is that when we turned RTX off, we didn't see any frame rate increase or decrease.
Right, it was the same performance
level. It still
level.
seemed the same performance level. It seemed like it. But according to that screenshot with the setting, VSync was turned off. So maybe there was a hard frame per second limit on the demo itself.
And there may have been. They may have been capping that at 45 FPS to keep the frame lows from dropping too low.
Right.
Because a lot of people complain, on my monitor. I play with VSync because I don't have an adaptive sync panel.
Right.
The reason I play with VSync on my panel is twofold. Number one, to avoid screen tearing.
Yes.
Number two, it actually brings your lows up because once you hit 60 FPS, it stops using that render time to try to get 90 or 100 or 110, and it starts using that render time to render the next frame. It goes, I'm going to hit that 16.7 millisecond target.
Right.
Why am I wasting my resources?
Let me go bring that low up.
Let me devote all of my resources into that next frame, which, there's like this lens flare that's coming across the screen now. I need to track the lighting. I need to make sure the shadows are accurate. I need to do this. I need to do that. That's going to take 3 times the rendering. So if that frame all of a sudden takes 19 milliseconds to render, that's fine because I didn't spend the previous frame rendering it in 10 milliseconds. So that's 10 more milliseconds of render time that I have to devote to that.
We're getting health advice here. Low in iodine. Outer eyebrow thinning. Hyperthyroidism.
It's just the color. It's not actually thin.
Yeah.
My hair is actually quite bushy.
Mine might. I don't know.
Yours is a little thin.
Well, I actually just.
Well, it's because he plucks.
Actually, you're not that far off. I'm Russian. I get the Stalin brow.
That's
true.
I
don't trim these things up. I was doing this today. They were this long.
Yeah.
I had to clip them off. I didn't want to have the Stalin brow coming on.
They were literally growing into his ear.
Yeah,
into his
they were
ears.
going off like that.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Yeah. I'm gonna moose them up and what was from Babylon 5? What was the guy? They had the eyebrows that went up like that. That's what it was like.
Someone said I look really nice without the glasses. Honestly, I think I'm blurry as hell. Focus! Oh, come on. That was a funny joke. No way. Really? Gosh. All right. RTX off, it's going to be insane. Yeah, it's going to be expensive, but the Jsu Sense put it very well. The 2080 Ti is no more expensive than the Titan XP was at launch. The 2080 is no more expensive than a 1080 Ti was at launch.
Yeah.
The 2070 is no more expensive than a 1080 was at launch. I think they did shift their nomenclature up because they're trying to differentiate RTX from GTX.
Yeah.
The 2060 and 2050 are going to be GTX series cards without the tensor cores, without the ray tracing, without all the extras.
Yeah.
Those are going to be quite a bit more affordable. What they did is they added some differentiation into their tiers on the top side. I think the performance is still going to be there. There's still going to be an upgrade, and it's going to be the same pricing that we had out this time. There's just not going to be a Titan.
Yeah.
So whether or not they explain that and whether or not they gave performance numbers, I think that's the case.
Yeah, because this was the first time that actually for the first release of the generation, they started out with the Ti.
Right. Not only that, I think NVLink is going to be a renaissance of dual GPU systems.
Yes.
NVLink, for those who don't know what NVLink is, NVLink is not SLI.
No, it's way better than SLI, because SLI, you couldn't share memory.
Right. You couldn't share memory. All you could do was see the other card's memory and know what it was rendering and say, okay, if he's going to render this frame,
I'm going to render this frame.
I need to think about what his frame is so I can start rendering the next frame. While I'm rendering the next frame, he's going to start rendering the frame after that. And if we don't jive, there's going to be some desync going on.
I think there was the notion that people thought SLI were actually two cards working in tandem as one wasn't really right. They were just I'm working. They're shifting. They were taking turns working.
Right. You get double the CPU cycles.
Yeah.
You get twice as much performance to render. Sorry, you get the same performance to render one frame, but then you have the whole other frame to take off or to be working on the next frame while GPU 2 is working on frame 2.
Yeah, and that's why it was really game specific, because a lot of games did not.
Some games, and you had to have SLI profiles.
Yes.
You had to have it set up per game, and that was per developer and per engine to implement that feature.
Yeah, and sometimes you did not see that much of a benefit.
Sometimes you didn't see any. Sometimes it was a detriment to your performance.
Yeah.
Now, NVLink, what it does is it displays to the operating system one graphics card. And if you have an 8 gigabyte card and an 8 gigabyte card, you now have 16 gigabytes of frame memory.
Yeah.
And you have, instead of 2,950 CUDA cores, you've got...
Yeah. They're truly working together as one. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You've got 5,920 CUDA cores.
Yeah.
Like that math?
Yeah.
NVLink is going to be a boon. So if you want to spend $2,400 on dual 2080 Ti's, you're going to see literally double the performance benefit because there's no profiles. There's no. This is all in theory. We'll find out when it's tested.
We should, but that's the idea behind the technology.
Right. So if you're really a frame whore and you got $2,400 to burn, you can burn that money, baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's also why they turned off NVLink on the 2070. Is a 2070 would blow the living hell out of a 2080 Ti.
Yeah.
It would blow it out of the freaking water. Because all of a sudden you're not talking 3,500 CUDA cores, you're talking 5,000 CUDA cores and 16 gigs of RAM for $1,000.
Yeah. There's no brainer at that point.
Right, exactly. Every single person on this planet runs two 2070s. That's what you do. Now, I think AMD, if they can come in strong with their 7 nanometer Vega 20, I'm going to skip a story on that.
Oh, you want to skip that?
Yeah, the XGMI.
Where is there it is.
Because it makes more sense.
This one or this
There
one?
you go.
There we go.
So like 3 stories. Okay.
There we go.
Now, if AMD can hit the ground running with their 7 nanometer process for their Vega 20 GPUs, and they can get competitive, even with a 2080. I'm going to leave the 2080 Ti, the $1,200 beast on the shelf. Yeah. You enthusiasts, you freaking go for that. But if AMD can compete with more than the $250 graphics card market, if they can get up and compete with the $800 graphics card market, we're going to see, number one, price drops across the board.
Of course.
Wait until the 2080 hits $600.
Yeah.
And now you can get 2 of them for $12. Wait until that moment happens.
Yeah.
Because AMD all of a sudden is pushing NVIDIA to do something different.
Yeah.
But also, AMD is implementing what's called XGMI, which is their version of a high-speed NVLink interface. This is shared resources across 2 GPUs using a bridge between the 2 cards that allows them to share processing cycles and memory
cycles. Yeah.
A
true sharing.
Just like NVLink. It's a very, very similar technology. We're not sure at this point if they're going to be using a bridge technology that is an SLI or an NVLink bridge, or what used to be a Crossfire bridge, or if they're going to be relying on the PCI interface to share this. The only thing we know is that the next generation Vega 20 GPUs will be using XGMI to share resources.
Yeah.
And again, if Vega 20 can hit, let's say 90%, let's say they get to 90% at the same price point, at the $800 price point as the 2080, there's going to be a market shakeup.
Yes.
If they're still at that 65% mark, which is where they're at now with the RX 580 versus the 1080, and even if you go Vega 56 beats a 1070 and a 1070 Ti. Yeah. But a Vega 64 does not beat a 1080, and it's also more expensive. Yeah. And it also draws double the power.
And it makes sense that they're going to come out with this sooner than later, because this isn't overriding the RTX technology, the ray tracing stuff. AMD does not have a ray tracing.
Doesn't have a
yet.
solution.
But there's not much support for RTX right now. And if what we suspect is going to happen, it's not going to be that impressive at first. There's going to be some tweaks. There's going to be some developments that comes up with it. AMD has a shot to get in there and help take the cost down, because if RTX becomes something like Hairworks and like no one really starts to support it at first,
Right.
then the competition is just going to come down to raw performance.
Yep.
And then raw performance is going to come down to, we got the NVLink versus the XGMI. So at that point, this is going to bring the card cost down.
Yep. And this might have been AMD's plan all along. Well, you know what? If we can't cram all of our GPU into one GPU, let's put it in two GPU. And dual RX 580s beat a 1080 in Crossfire in games that support it. They do. It matches or bests a 1080. Yeah. And at the time, they were less expensive, because remember, the 1080 came out at $650.
Yeah.
And the 2080, the RX 580 came out at $259 for the 8 gig model and $199 for the 4 gig.
Yeah.
So let's imagine that XGMI was present on those cards.
Two of those would have just stomped it.
Let's take two of the 4 gig cards. All of a sudden, you've got 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 with a crap ton of performance power and infinite scaling, because there's no overhead for this performance.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, $400 bests NVIDIA's $650 card.
Yeah.
That's what this technology does.
This is what could potentially trump the RTX thing, if the RTX does not take off.
Correct.
Which is why I think NVIDIA's really pimping it hard.
Yep.
They're pimping the RTX hard.
Yep.
And unless they get something extremely impressive that comes out at release when it happens, and it doesn't look like it's gonna, because we got the cards coming out at the end of this month. We got some games trickling in. They're gonna support it. Doesn't sound like that they've been in the toaster long enough. Just from seeing with the Exodus demo and stuff like that.
Yep.
Performance wise.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a nail biter.
Yep.
Let's see what's gonna happen here.
Yeah. And people in the comments are picking up on this already. The one thing that will keep ray tracing available and continuing is going to be if the consoles adopt it.
Well, yeah.
Because right now, you develop for console.
Yeah.
I mean,
some developers do, some developers don't.
The indie crowd develops for PC first, because it's the easiest market to tap. Because you can get your game on Steam. There's no cost involved.
The big studios, AAA, they do console first, then usually PC second. Sometimes they do it off to a port. It depends. I mean, CD Projekt Red, I guess, is still technically indie, but they still produce AAA. AAA is just budget, budget size,
But it's how many sales can we make at the lowest investment? Well, the lowest investment is getting into the hands of console players.
I do say that, though,
and then port to PC.
I think it'll probably be another 2 years before RTX technology or something like that will come to consoles. They just released the PS4 Pro, and they just have the new Xbox One X, right?
Yep.
The big ones. And console guys don't like it too much when you release a new console every other year.
Yep.
Then they're like, well, why do I do this? Why not just become a PC gamer?
Why don't I become a PC gamer? Then I'll just buy a new video card every 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing.
I do think there's a renaissance for PC gaming coming around. I do. Because if you remember the 90s, it was like, I can play on an SNES, or I can play frickin' Jedi Knight 2 on PC.
No. The 90s was definitely, the late 90s, early 2000s was definitely golden time for PC gaming.
The only time the console started to beat it was when the Xbox came out, and that's because the Xbox was an $800 box that they sold for $299.
The Xbox 360, not the original.
Or 360.
The 360, because the Xbox original wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Hardware wise.
Yeah.
In fact, it was just a PC. You could open it up.
It was an x86 PC.
Yeah.
It was essentially a custom Pentium 4 with an AMD onboard chip.
They
on
were
it.
Cool because they were highly modifiable. You can do all kinds of crap with them.
Oh yeah. I actually had a friend who had an assembly line business for a while where they bought 100 Xboxes and they modded them all and sold them online. So, Regan, $1. First stream I can't finish. Got to go to work at 9.
Oh, sorry, Regan.
Good night, Regan.
Have a good night.
You rock, as always. Eric Del Toro, XGMI on two RX 580s would yield 4,608 cores, 288 TMUs, 64 ROPs, and 72 compute units with 8 or 16 gigs of GDDR5. That's exactly why they're developing it.
Yes.
Is that right there?
Yeah.
It's because if they can crank out 2 of those chips at literally for a retail cost of $500, it destroys everything on the market today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except the 1080 Ti.
It becomes extremely affordable, too.
Exactly. Yep.
Granted, your motherboard at that point will probably be a little bit more expensive, but still, it's
right.
an offset cost, whatever.
Exactly. So actually, there wouldn't be much of a motherboard increase in this as well, because Crossfire works without it. Crossfire, you just need the PCI Express lane.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you've got the PCI Express lanes to support 2 cards, you can support Crossfire.
Yeah.
So it's Nvidia that holds the keys of the kingdom on that.
Yeah.
So it's because they license their tech, and there's a hardware requirement for doing SLI. Yeah. Real-time ray tracing is already being implemented into Vulkan. Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
It's being implemented into the API, and that's why I think this is going to survive more than Hairworks or
I think so too,
Euphoria Engine or PhysX or anything like that.
Right. Because I thought when I first saw physics, I thought it was going to be pretty groundbreaking, but it wasn't.
I did too.
Really,
I bought into physics acceleration early on. I had I had dual 9800 GTX Plus cards in SLI, and I had a 9400 GT for doing physics.
Yeah.
I bought into it. I totally did. Yeah.
I mean, there was some cool things in demos, but most game developers didn't really adopt it.
Will you need a nuclear power plant to run 2 RX 580s and an industrial AC? No, you can run 2 of them off a 600 watt power supply.
Yeah.
Totally can.
Only slightly nuclear.
Yep. So, I do think 7 nanometer Radeon, so Vega 20, is going to compete with a 2080. I don't think it's going to beat it, but I think it's going to be competitive. I'm talking that 85% performance mark for maybe 80% the cost.
Right. Well,
even if it's 90% the cost.
Well, that's the thing, because like the 20 series comes out.
Right.
There's no Nvidia budget cards. I mean, you got to go back to the 10 series to get a budget card.
Right.
So this is probably going to fill that budget niche right there at the time.
I think if AMD can come out with a graphics card that is 85% the performance of an RTX 2080, and they can do it at a $499 price point.
Right.
I think the market explodes.
Yeah.
I think Nvidia is forced to make a move. I think Nvidia is forced to lower graphics card prices.
I still have my Gia physics.
Nice, card. You have a dedicated physics card.
That was before Nvidia bought out Gia.
Yeah.
I went to one of the very first demos that Gia did for physics back in E3 2004 or 5. I think I was at that demo.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I right after Nvidia bought physics, I bought a 9400 GT to run physics acceleration.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be the next big thing. I skipped Hairworks entirely.
Yeah. It was, well, there's 5 games that have it implemented. Witcher's one of them, and everybody turns it off because it just tanks the performance.
Yeah. So, what are my predictions about Intel entering the GPU market for 2020? I have no freaking clue because they've tried 3 times before, and every time they failed.
Yeah,
I am not seeing performance increases on their HD 630s yet.
They're not even doing very good with their CPU chip market right now.
Right? Yeah, Intel's hit a hard wall for development, and it would shock the living hell out of me if they came out with a competitive product in 2020.
They're obviously not going away. They hit a slump.
Yeah.
They're probably going to come back with both guns firing, but right now they're in the slump. With
AMD and Nvidia primed to start breaking out larger guns, and actually have to be competitive with each other. The 2080 release, the RTX release, I think was Nvidia being a little bit scared and preemptively acting to AMD launching a competitive product. I think this is a preemptive move by Nvidia.
I do too, because it doesn't seem ready for prime time.
It doesn't seem ready for prime time, and I've heard whispers out there from the industry that Nvidia didn't have anything until their next gen chip. Yeah. And so this was, what technology do we have now that we can push out there, make a quick buck, get a lot of the market share eaten up right now. I said, I think last week, I think the 2000 series cards are going to be a short-lived series. I think they're going to see 12 to 14 months on retail, and that's it.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a 2.5 year release like Pascal was.
Right.
So I think this was to beat AMD to the punch, see what AMD comes out with, and then plan your counterpunch. I think that's what this was.
Yeah, it does seem like it. Just given the fact that they didn't give developers that much time to work with it, it seems like they're trying to get something to the market quick. And the fact that AMD is putting stuff out later this year, this seems exactly like what it is.
Right.
Because this PAX, I think this we don't have any, because there's the Game Developers Conference, there's PAX, there's not really much going on between now and Christmas.
Now and CES, pretty much.
Yeah. Not much else.
Yep.
So, yeah. Do it now.
So, speaking of CES, AMD is predicted to release X499 chipsets at CES, or at least announce them.
Yeah.
So, this is a Threadripper chipset, and it is... there was rumors that they were going to come out with X499 for the Zen Plus, for the Pinnacle Ridge Threadripper chips. That's your 2000 series Threadripper. They decided rather to revamp their X399 boards and forego making people upgrade their chipsets. Now, this was the plan all along. They planned on running the X399 for quite a while.
Yeah.
Or at least keeping compatible, just like they're doing on the Ryzen side of things, where if you have a B350 motherboard, you can still run this chip. Yep. And guess what? You're going to be able to run the 3000 AMD chips as well. And guess what? You're probably going to be able to run the 4000 AMD chips as well, because they promised compatibility through 2020 with that B350 and X370 chipset. It's going to be the same deal on Threadripper. They just didn't release a new chipset with the 2000 series chips.
Right.
So there's talk that X499 will arrive at CES 2019, at least on a paper launch, possibly on some enhanced feature launch. Information is very limited. The only information I have is actually from was that a German site, I wanted to say?
This, I think, was Spanish, actually.
Yeah, Spanish. And this just came out literally today. So, yeah, Spanish.
Yeah,
okay.
Spanish. I don't know how those Spaniards get all the scoops, but...
Right. Recently it was said that AMD had canceled plans of the chipset and that it would continue with the X399, but no, the X499 was simply postponed. X499 was originally going to be released for the second generation of Threadripper, but it decided to launch a new batch of X399 and postpone that chipset launch. The chipset is still in development and will be released later next year. Possibly with true Zen 2 architecture, which is the stuff I'm really excited for.
Yes, the Zen 2 stuff.
Zen 2 is when AMD is going to take the performance crown from Intel. Across the board, top to bottom, AMD wins.
And it's coming out
March.
early. Yeah.
March is when it comes out for consumers. That's going to be your X570 or whatever the hell they decide to call it, chipset. That is your 3000 series Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7 chips. And then your 3000 series Threadripper coming in August, probably.
Right.
Mark my words, I'll say it and I'll say it again. I think AMD is going to take the performance crown from Intel. I don't care if Intel comes out with an 8-core 9900K that overclocks to 5.4. There's rumors that's going to be a $750 chip anyway.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you haven't been paying attention to the market, but I can get a 1700X for $189.
Way cheaper, yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's not going to beat it, but come on, it's a quarter of the price. Let's be freaking real here.
Yeah. Price performance is not very good.
Right. So, I think AMD is actually going to take the performance crown, multi-threaded and single-threaded, from Intel starting in March.
Yeah.
And then
That's
by
not that
August,
far away.
and then by August is going to be across the board.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. And again, I've said Intel doesn't have a counterpunch at this point. Like I said, Nvidia is waiting for the counterpunch so that they know where they have to go. But they have stuff in their pipeline. They have stuff. They have die shrinks. They have everything else that's in the pipeline ready to go. They just need to know how quickly they have to do it. Intel doesn't have the counterpunch right now, and it's going to take them 3 years before they do.
As far as we know, they don't.
Right. No, they don't.
They don't.
Because they have conference calls with their investors, and they say, yeah, we still can't shrink this thing down.
Yeah.
That's a known fact. They don't have anything right now. They don't have anything that's going to beat AMD. And when's the last time you said that?
I don't think I've ever said that. Intel's almost always been on top.
Yep.
Almost always.
Almost always. Yep.
I think there's a few times where AMD put something out for like a month or two. They were maybe ahead of the curve.
AMD beat Intel to the 1 gigahertz mark and really ran the roost for a while.
But it wasn't like Intel didn't have the R&D and they were about to release something too. They did.
Right. They were just a couple months behind.
Yeah, they were just
they were maybe 6 months behind.
Yeah.
So AMD beat Intel to the punch to 1 gigahertz, and they ruled the roost through the Athlon 2000 series.
Yeah.
Intel then came out with the Pentium 4, the Pentium 4 Extreme Edition, and then later the Core Duo, Core 2 Duo.
Yeah, Core Duo, Core 2 Duo.
In between that timeline, they traded blows a couple times with the Athlon 3000 coming out, later the 3600 Plus, and whatnot. And so that jumped them back in front, but then Intel was able to counterpunch. And there's been a couple little blows in that 2006, 2007.
Yeah, it wasn't anything more than a couple months difference. It was.
But from 2007 until March 2019, it's been Intel.
Yeah.
I think that ends in March.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how long it takes for Intel to come back.
Yep. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months.
Yeah. March is not that far away.
March is not very far away.
I'm going to hold off my upgrades.
And neither is CES when we're probably going to get announcements for Ryzen 2.
Yeah, that's true.
For Zen 2 architecture.
Yeah.
So I know last CES we got prepped on Raven Ridge launches on Zen Plus with their APUs. And those were freaking impressive. And they also gave us some preliminary numbers for Zen Plus on the desktop side.
Yeah.
And those didn't launch till April, I want to say.
Yeah. Still not that far off.
Exactly.
January, April.
Right.
A couple months.
All right. That's our hardware news for the night. Let me finish this beer.
Was it? Or did you want to go? Oh, are we done
then? Yeah. No, I wrapped them both up together.
Okay.
Yep.
We don't want them.
We'll skip that.
All right, that's fine. Okay.
That one interests me, my audience. I know my audience likes photography. It's been talked about to death. I'm very new on the specs for the EOS R. Yeah. So Canon released the EOS, or announced today the EOS R, and had some preliminary sample photos from it and whatnot, and got it into some photographers' hands today. Really impressive in some regards. I'm really disappointed it's 4K 30. I'm
4K
really,
60.
really disappointed. Because and there's a 2x crop when capturing 4K 30. And in a professional full frame camera body, it's kind of unacceptable.
That is.
Especially when Sony just released the A7 III, which is a full frame 24 megapixel camera that does 4K 60 at full frame.
Now, wasn't this supposed to be like 33?
Yeah, 3300. Yeah, 33 megapixels. So it's a higher photography lens, or higher photography. But video, man.
Well, that's when you go mirrorless. That's what you kind of want it for anyway.
Right.
You want to do for video.
Yep. Or you want to be dual format.
Yeah.
Look at Sony. Sony's the perfectionist for dual format.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it very well for a long time. Whereas Panasonic, really more of a video geared camera, and they started to realize that with the G6 or the GH5S or whatever they're calling it, where they actually lowered the megapixel resolution. They went from a 16 megapixel down to an 11, but they fixed the aspect ratio, so you're using every single pixel natively to get a 4K 60 image, and it
looks a lot better.
And there's also less of a crop, and it is the perfect video camera in a Micro Four Thirds.
Yeah.
It's not full frame. There's still some inherent noise. There's still some low light performance issues there. Sony, you've got a perfect dual format. You've got a full frame 4K 60, 1080p 120 camera that will take almost any lens from any system with dual pixel AF and $2,000.
And
then Canon comes out for $3,000 with a 33 megapixel that seems like it's geared more towards photography. And you're going, what the hell?
That kind of is like most people who do just point and shoot, or most do photography. That's what they stick with Canon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I stick with Canon lenses. I've got a 24 to 105L. That's my primary lens on my A6000. I need to upgrade to the A6500 so I can actually freaking use the autofocus. But EOS R coming to a photo shelf near you.
Yep.
And only a photo shelf.
Yeah.
Sorry, video guys.
Sorry.
All right, let me finish this beer real quick.
Okay, we can crack open that.
Why don't you crack in with the first one, because you played this for 20 minutes.
Well, I did. I really enjoyed this game. And it's not anything new. The only reason why it was at PAX is because they're releasing it for the Switch. Which is big news in and of itself for this particular game. There's a lot. I was really surprised that there are a lot of indie titles coming out for the Switch.
Yes.
Because a lot of indie titles are a little more simplistic, I should say. Mm-hmm. A couple buttons. They got the beat 'em ups, the simple stuff.
Some more simple mechanics, or some things that are a little outside the box.
Yeah, and that's and then the pick up and put down type of nature of those type of games. Mm-hmm. Perfect for the Switch. I'm on the bus.
Yep.
I'm just in the car and whatever. I want to pick it up, play it a little bit, put it down.
Right.
These type of things are perfect for that type of thing. So this game is already out for Steam. I think it's been out for a couple months.
I think it came out in May.
Yeah, I think so too. But I started playing it. I had never played it before. I'd seen it out there, and me and John actually were playing it, and we were just cracking up because it was great.
The humor is on point.
Yeah, it's called Beat Cop.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of pixel. You can set the pixel. You're just basically a beat cop in New York City, and you're just working a block. You're going up and down the thing, and at first you have a quota. You know, cops go up and down, they don't have a quota, but no, you got a quota. You have to find, kind of like Papers, Please, where you're going to have to see if cars are parked in front of fire hydrants, or if the meter's expired or whatever, then you got to put a ticket. You got to make sure the ticket's signed by you, and you got to put the correct reason and everything like that.
I'm sorry. So, that is a beautiful pour. I'm assuming this one's going to go the same way.
I can smell that.
Oh,
that smells amazing.
So, for those who don't know, Stone every year does an Imperial Russian Stout. It's a limited edition release, and it's a little bit different every year. This in particular one was bottled in 2015.
That sure looks fair.
Yeah. We'll take the head off and add your head back. It's there.
Yeah.
This particular one was bottled in 2015. It was cellar conditioned for over 2 years.
Yeah.
So this one is a very well-aged version of this stout.
It's mature.
It's very mature.
It's the MILF of stouts.
Now we got to recover from that. But I can't even comment on the flavor now. Just keep going. Just keep going. Beat Cop.
Okay, Beat Cop. So yeah, you start out pretty simple. You're just patrolling. You're putting tickets, and then pretty soon, you also have to like watch this guy. This rush. This because this takes place like 1986, New York. And there's this Russian guy that they want you to watch because he's like a suspected Russian spy.
Yeah.
But he's drunk all the time, so you just don't think anything of it. And so it quickly becomes to these missions where you can be a good cop or a bad cop. You can, steal evidence. You can deliver drugs or not deliver drugs. You can hook up with prostitutes if you want to, or not hook up with prostitutes. It's a pretty fun game with just the variety that you can do almost immediately.
Right. So the reason I said that this was kind of big news coming to the Switch is typically Nintendo has been very, very draconian with their policies. They're very much like Apple. Nothing that is even questionable in taste makes it onto their consoles. And that's for physical cartridges as well as their e-store. In Beat Cop, and we also saw with, what was that, Night Trap?
Not Night Trap. Are you talking about Disco Elysium?
No. There's a game called Night Trap.
Oh, you're talking about... Okay, that's an old game.
Old game.
Oh, okay.
It's coming to the Switch now. They remastered it, and it's coming to the Switch. Yeah.
That's an old game.
Yeah.
Wasn't it originally LucasArts, Night Trap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought.
So, a game of, we'll say, questionable morality. So, some interesting things that happen in that game. And now Beat Cop, the humor in this is very... Adult.
Yes, it's very adult.
I was going to say effed up.
Yeah, it's adult.
It's very adult. May contain adult situations.
Yes.
Shall we say.
Yeah.
There's nothing graphically in there, but oh man, is the language there.
Yeah, the language is there. The subject matter is there. The humor is there too.
Very adult humor.
Yeah.
Sexually explicit humor.
Yeah.
It reads like a Cinemax disclaimer when you.
Yeah.
This film contains adult language, sexual situations.
Yeah. The good news, I think it's like.
And drug use. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you go to Humble Bundle, it's like what, $450 right now.
$450 right now. Yeah. So if you're interested in playing it, go to the Humble store. It's on sale for $450 right now for PC.
Yeah.
But the reason this is groundbreaking is this is coming to Switch. This is coming to a console that
is traditionally family friendly.
Right.
You got your your cutesy kidsy Mario games and stuff like that.
Right. And this is going to be for sale right alongside those.
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo is taking this as an opportunity to really start to compete with the bigger boys. Because Nintendo's been, they had a hit with the Wii. The GameCube and the Wii U both sold terribly.
Yeah.
And they've always owned the handheld market. I think they have an opportunity in front of them to start capturing some of the enthusiast market, especially on the handheld side. For God's sakes, I bought one.
Yeah.
Now, I've always had their handhelds. I've always had... I think I've owned every single Game Boy up to this point. I've had a 3DS, a 3DS Lite, a DS, a DS Lite, a 3DS, a 3DS XL, and then I just went and bought a Switch.
Yeah. That's their merchant, their console, and their portable in one unit.
Right. So, and there's a lot of games that are coming out that I'm, number one, genuinely shocked that are coming out for Switch.
Yeah.
But number two, super excited that are coming out for Switch.
Well, The Binding of Isaac is on Switch. Yeah, that's true.
And we had a $5 donation. APM Films, do you guys know if there will be any 2080 Ti's available anywhere to purchase on drop day, or did you have to pre-order? From what I'm hearing, you had to pre-order.
Yeah, they're going to probably be eaten up pretty quickly.
Yeah, so, pretty much you had to pre-order. And honestly, I don't recommend pre-ordering. I recommend waiting until some performance benchmarks come out.
Yeah.
Because we don't know yet. I can make some pretty good guesses, but we don't know yet. And honestly, if let's say the 2080 Ti comes out 30% faster than a 1080 Ti, well, I can buy a 1080 Ti for $500 right now.
Yeah.
Like literally today, I can get on eBay or Amazon or what, and I can buy a 1080 Ti for $500. Is 2.5 times the price worth a 30% increase? No,
not even that.
No.
Yeah. That's not a good price performance upgrade. Not
right.
At all.
So, honestly, the Pascal cards are still going to be the value as far as that's concerned for this foreseeable future, at least until AMD comes out with a competitive product.
Yeah.
If AMD comes out with a competitive product, I think they will, but time will tell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't pre-order it now. If they come out 70% faster. For that 2.5 times? Yes, absolutely. I think that's a good buy. If they come out 30%, no.
But signs say no.
Signs say no.
So it doesn't look like it's going to be that way.
Yep. No, not off topic. I think that's actually a good question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
You can get a 1900X for $365. Yeah. So yeah, games that I'm genuinely excited for. There's Beat Cop.
Yeah.
For its adult situations, adult humor, I think will be really, really fun. Go and click on the next one.
This one's really cool too.
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
That one looked fun.
We got a 30-minute demo of this, and holy crap, does it look like an amazingly fun game.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very much a Descent fan. I did an interview with one of the Overload devs, and he was fantastic. I talked to him for quite a long time off camera. But Rebel Outlaw reminds me a lot of Descent Free Space, and actually even more of like Freelancer.
It had that, but it also had, and that's what I thought, it kind of had some elements of Grand Theft Auto as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like...
not as far as I'm going to jump in this spaceship.
Right, yeah, it's not, I mean, they still describe it as sandbox, but universe sandbox.
As far as universe building and environment building, it reminds me a lot of Grand Theft Auto, where you live in the universe.
Yeah.
And it feels alive in ways that are very, very subtle.
They even have radio stations.
There's 21 hours of radio and talk shows and commercials and things that you can just listen to while you're flying around.
Yeah.
Graphically, beautiful, I thought.
Yeah. I thought it was... It wasn't like, photorealistic, but very, very.
But
great
the art
aesthetics.
style they chose
Yeah.
and the presentation of those graphics, fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a game that's coming out for Switch in January.
Yep.
I'm totally a buyer. I'm totally on board.
Yeah, this is going to be a single player only. It's not going to be multiplayer.
Right.
It's got this kind of like, of course you can tell by Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, it's going to have kind of almost a gritty Texan Western vibe to it. You know, because you're in space, Western space, it's the next frontier type of a thing. One of the cool things that they did mention about this, I've never actually really seen this before, a studio offering this, but there's a painting feature, so you can customize.
Yeah.
You can customize your ship. You can paint it yourself.
You can paint it however you want.
However
There's
you want.
Think like Need for Speed Underground kind of style.
Or like even with like Warhammer when you were doing it, like paint
Right.
your soldiers and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Well, you can paint your soldiers, but think of like the customization options you had in Need for Speed Underground, where you could add the liveries to them, you could paint it whatever color, you could add designs and artwork and bumper stickers and things like that.
And then on top of that, you can click a button and then you can have it 3D printed out for you.
Yep.
And they will ship it to you exactly how it's
Exactly.
printed
And you can print it in whatever scale you want.
yeah.
Now
you can make it big.
You can make it this big. You can. They had a model that was
That's about
8 inches long, maybe 5 inches tall.
It's pretty big, yeah.
And was very, very good looking.
Yeah.
But it was all painted up like the ship the guy was flying in the
Yeah.
game, and that was cool.
So yeah, if you get attached
And,
to your
and I think
ship,
he said $25.
yeah, he says the smaller one's gonna be $25-$30.
Yeah.
The big one, I don't know how much.
Yeah, the big one maybe 75 because it all depends on print time and material used. But yeah, it was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the pupper wants attention. I had to let her mount.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, Switch is trying to appeal more, and I think they have to. Yeah.
right, they have to appeal to a larger audience, and I think they totally are. There are, like I said, there is a number of games at PAX that they were there because they launched a game in May and they said, but we're developing for Switch right now.
Yeah.
That was their announcement for PAX.
I mean, not to say that I don't enjoy like the Zeldas and the Marios, because I was playing the Mario Odyssey when we were there, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of like this. This is the first time I tried to play it, and I enjoyed it. But I played that, and that's it. You know, stuff like this coming out, B Cup.
Yep.
That's gonna draw me to that type of a console. A lot
Absolutely. I bought one in anticipation for going to PAX.
more. Yeah.
And I really wanted to cover some of these games. I thought some of these games were like coming out. No, they're like still 2-3 months out.
Yeah.
But they're coming.
They're coming. Yes, there's a lot of them coming.
Every single dev we talked to said we're aware of the Switch. It caught the industry off guard.
Yeah.
We're in the process of developing for the Switch
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Every single one. I think there were only 1 or 2 no answers that we got. I asked the Overled. The
They
Overled
said
devs.
yeah, they said they didn't seem too positive about it.
But they did say they'll be investigating it this fall.
Yes.
Later this fall. Because they're focusing on the console launch right now. They'll be investigating Switch compatibility this fall.
Yeah.
Which means if there's a market for it, and if they can make the port work, then yeah.
Yeah. It's probably going to be how much effort's going to
Right.
be to port
Yeah,
it.
cost to return.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I'm totally
Yeah,
looking
that one
forward
looked
to that
really
one.
good too. That one, because that was one I had never heard of.
Yeah.
And-
I had seen Rebel Galaxy on Steam before, and I'd seen it gotten good reviews, but it's like, it's $20.
Yeah.
Am I really going to play it? Probably not. This one had some features that I was really interested in as well. They had an easy fly feature, which if you tap the left trigger
Yeah.
or the left bumper, it basically turned it into autopilot mode when you're in space combat.
Yes.
So basically, you targeted a ship, and while he's doing all his acrobatics, it kept him in your visual sight, and it pointed you in the right direction.
It wasn't auto targeting.
Right.
Yeah, because some of the things when you're playing space sims, it's like the AI goes whoosh, and it's very hard for you to track them.
Yep.
This would help you track them within your visual scope. It doesn't help you aim at them. It doesn't
Right.
help you shoot, but it keeps them within the view.
And then all you have to do is fine tune that little bit
Yeah.
of so it's making what is a fairly complex flight sim accessible for anyone to play.
And he did say you can, if you don't like that, you can turn it off.
You can turn it off,
That's
exactly.
obviously if you're more of a hardcore space sim guy,
Right.
you can totally turn that off.
Right, because as a hardcore space sim guy who's been playing them since X-Wing and Descent and all, I totally want that free flowing experience, and I'm going to buy this on Switch. I totally am, because I think it'll fit very, very well. But for those who just want to sit down and enjoy the game and be able to play it and not have to spend 3
yeah.
hours learning how to fly a damn
completely.
ship.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like they wanted the entry point into a space sim to be fairly low.
Right.
They don't want to turn off people who are like, I tried them before, I just can't get into them.
Mm-hmm.
This should be a little bit easier.
All right. Let the dogs in.
They're going,
Barking at the neighbors.
They're going in, they're going out. Now that we just finally talked about all of Rebel, Galaxy, Outlaw, Space, Cadet, Frontier, number 23.
Over here.
Oh. Nope. Beat Cop. This. That. Oh, gosh. What are you doing over there, Jeff? So, anyway, another developer we went and saw. We'll wait until Jeff comes back, but these guys were called Mega Cat Studios. Now, what Mega Cat Studios does is they create games for old, retired systems. They still make games for the NES. They still make games for the Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System, and the Super Nintendo. Now, they just did recently port over one of their games to Steam, which is the one we played, which was Coffee Crisis. Yes.
Which I kept calling Coffee Crush.
No, it was not Coffee Crush. It was Coffee Crisis. But it was like it's like your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, exactly.
Side-scrolling, shoot 'em, fight 'em.
It reminded me of the TMNT arcade game.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
But you can actually, from them, buy this game on the Sega Genesis.
Yes, you can.
And a cartridge.
Yep.
And then plug it in.
Not only on a cartridge, it comes in a box.
Yeah.
It comes in a retail box.
Yeah, show that.
Let me go. So we got Little Medusa for the Sega Genesis, or the Sega Mega System. So it comes in the Sega retail box. Open that up. I've got a cartridge. I've got a manual, full color manual, in the original. I mean, it's exactly like I would expect a manual to be if I opened this in 1993.
Yeah. They even had some the examples they had given for like some of the original Nintendo style cartridges. Intricately etched designs and stuff like that on their cartridge. It was very cool.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they did.
So this is really cool. I think Rhett and I are planning on possibly doing a live stream of playing this Little Medusa game. And I may end up buying Coffee Crush or Coffee Crisis. There, I did again. Coffee Crisis from them and playing that on the Genesis as well, because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It's very reminiscent of those old fighting games, like The Simpsons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all this.
Right.
You beat my ass on that one. I didn't know what I was doing half the time.
I didn't just beat. I doubled up your score.
Well, okay. To be fair, I still think it was a bug. I think it was bugged. It was a bug.
I was knocking guys down and then coming over and saving you and then going back and beating my own.
No, it was a bug.
No. So yeah, Mega Cat Studios. Those guys were super cool.
Yeah, they were very nice. Very enthusiastic about their craft.
Yes.
Very, very niche. Very niche, but very cool what they're doing too.
And that was a vibe I got from a lot of the indie developers. Is they were all extremely passionate about what they were working on, and the individual aspects of the game that they themselves were working on. Because we talked to a lot of developers. We talked to the writer for Moonlighter.
Yeah.
We talked to the story development team for Total War. The core developer for Overload.
Yeah.
Very, very passionate about the things that they were working on.
Oh yeah.
And that was
even the bee simulator guy. He was like,
man,
he was totally into bees.
He was all about.
I am not to talk about the bees.
Yeah. He was funny too. He was very funny. But they were all super passionate, and that was it's infectious when you go and talk to people like that. So. Very, very cool. So yeah, Coffee Crisis, Little Medusa from not the same game, different games.
Yeah.
But from Mega Cat Studios, both of which you can buy today. Coffee Crisis is only available, Little Medusa is only available in cartridge form.
Yeah.
Coffee Crisis you can get, I think it's $6 on Steam.
Yeah, it's very cheap on Steam.
Yeah.
But no, it says $10 on Steam. But
that was 6 or 7.
Well, it says 10.
Yeah. Oh well.
But they do also sell that in the cartridge.
In the cartridge form, right?
Yeah. But Little Medusa is only in
cartridge form, right? So.
Yeah. Apparently, it's Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis.
Yes.
Still get it.
Yep. So, yeah. Go and skip this one.
Okay,
the next game was pretty interesting. I know Rhett spent a lot of time playing it.
Yeah, he did.
And that is Generation Zero, a new game from THQ.
Yeah.
So it is a post-apocalyptic game set in the countryside of in Sweden in the 1980s. I think they said 1989.
Yeah.
And
alternate 1980s.
It's an alternate technology. So what did they say happened or didn't happen?
It was supposed to be kind of like...
There were like 4 different dystopias that we talked about that took place in the 80s that had an alternate reality. There was Disco Elysium, there was this one, there was... So some alternate reality that the technology diverged in a different direction.
Yeah.
Much like Fallout.
Yeah.
But it's an open world survival first game.
Yeah.
Not really based on crafting, but based on exploration and strategy.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting concept. Now, this reminded me a lot of Borderlands as far as the co-op ability.
Yeah.
You can play up to 4-player co-op.
Yeah. Drop in type of a
drop in, drop out.
Yeah.
And you save your progress no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So if you drop into a game with people who have 70 hours in the game and you're on hour 2 and you go and complete a mission for them, that mission is completed in your single player campaign.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that again. You get the credit for doing that with your character.
Yeah.
Your character saves your stats, not your game save, which I thought was a great idea.
Right.
Because for people like me, I don't have hundreds of hours to sink into games typically. I've got 20 to 30 hours if the game is really good to sink into it, and then I got to move on to the next thing because I'm already 7 months later.
Yeah. Backlog gets to be too gigantic.
Right, exactly. So
welcome to my world.
Yep. So, but anyway, mechs are a real thing. I didn't. Now, this was an early alpha that we played.
Yeah.
This is not even what they're considering a release alpha or a beta or anything like that. The mechanics were there as far as the get up, walk around, shoot guns, kill people.
Yeah. Kill robots.
Yeah. So, again, this is a survival game taking place in the countryside of Sweden where you need to fight back while unraveling a mystery of what is really going on. By utilizing battle-tested guerrilla tactics, you are able to lure, cripple, or destroy enemies in intense, creative sandbox skirmishes. Now, every single enemy within the game is persistent. Mm-hmm. So if you kill an enemy, he dies. If you wound an enemy, he stays wounded until you kill him days later.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, again, a pretty cool mechanic.
And now they didn't say because one of the mechanics on this thing was salvageable parts. Because we didn't really get to talk to a dev too much when we got to see this. This was one of the games that we just got to walk up to and play. But they did mention that it was persistent. Once he's wounded, he stays wounded. But you can go salvage, you as a player, salvage parts from things. There's nothing that said that enemy couldn't go and salvage its own parts. Because it's got some AI, right?
Right.
Didn't say anything about that. Maybe they're going to put that in their future. Yeah. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. But who knows?
So there's some enemies out there that have night vision. That there are scout enemies, there are drone enemies, there are things like that. And if you shoot one of those down without destroying it, and you salvage a night vision scope, you can put that night vision scope on your rifle. Yeah. Now maybe that's not a magnified scope. And so it's a give and take with, okay, maybe I need to keep a 4x scope in my backpack, but this gives me a 2x night vision. And so you're able to adapt parts onto different weapons. And there are some RPG elements in this as well, as far as player progression and craftability and things like that. But I thought of a very intriguing game in kind of early stages.
Yeah, it looked very nice. Very intriguing. I'll probably keep following it, see what's going to go on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I will. Let's see. Craft Computing, Coffee Crisis reminds me a lot of Golden Axe.
Very, very similar.
Very much in that style.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of games that followed the that beat 'em up style, the multiplayer. It reminded me of dropping coins into Golden Axe or playing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or
died so many times.
Streets of Rage, even Battletoads to a certain extent.
Except that without the annoying.
Except that we survived 2 levels instead of 1.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it was bad.
Yep. Let's see. Only in a text live stream can you actually get tech support. Who's got a problem with an Alienware 14X? Hold on. I owned an Alienware 14X. What's the problem with your Alienware?
Get a bootable USB like Ubuntu.
Caps lock goes on and off. That's likely an issue with your ribbon cable going to your keyboard.
Yeah.
So take your keyboard off, clean the contacts with some isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip, reseat it, and see if that fixes it. Make sure there's no liquid damage to the keyboard. Remember, it's just a membrane keyboard, and so if you've bridged a contact somewhere, that can cause some key press issues. If that doesn't work, a new keyboard is like $30 on eBay for that laptop.
Probably,
so
yeah.
That would be my guess.
They made a lot of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it is an older laptop, but if I remember right, that had a GTX. It was a 600 series GTX card.
Oh, really? It's not too bad.
Decent little laptop.
Yeah.
It was actually really impressive specs for the day. I had an i7 model with, I think, an GTX 665, MX 555, something like that.
Yeah. I think
it was decent specs. It was a 6 gigabyte video card.
Yeah.
It was crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy good for the day. But yeah, no, I would check your keyboard for physical damage or wear and tear.
If you don't know how to disassemble your laptop to get to the keyboard, just there's probably a guide online.
Yeah, Dell actually provides disassembly instructions on their website.
Oh, do they?
For that laptop? Yeah, you can get full recycle instructions for that laptop as far as how to break it down into individual screws. The keyboard I seem to remember was pretty easy to do because I had to replace the palm rest on mine at one point, and it wasn't that difficult. So, yep. Backlight comes on, won't boot and has a black screen. That's the problem.
That's worse than a.
Okay, that's worse than the
keyboard
caps lock on off.
Yeah.
Okay, so your caps lock will turn on and off, but your screen boots to a black screen. Again, I would check for physical damage to the LVDS cable, which is the display cable going up to your display. Because if your caps lock comes on and off, that means your system is posting. That means you've passed the post screen. So actually plug in an external monitor, see if an external monitor turns on. That's troubleshooting step number 1. Yeah. Step number 2 is start to check the ribbon cable that goes up from your board to your panel. Check that for damage. Or it's also possibly a backlight that's gone out on the display. I've seen that before.
If that happens,
I've seen it before as well. If
that happens, you got to replace the whole backlight.
You got to replace the panel, but even those panels are only like 130.
Yeah.
They're not terribly expensive.
Not too bad.
So, just like JFZ said, all depends on parts available. No parts and no time. Get a new unit. Yeah. Exactly.
There does come a point where it's just better to buy something new.
Yep. Working on an Alienware M17X R2. Had 2 HD 4870s and an i7 Extreme first gen. Yep. I had an M14X M3.
External monitor did nothing, he says.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never had the monitors. Sometimes with those external monitors, there is a combination of keys you have to do to make it go out the external port.
Yeah, sometimes there's a function like F5. There'll be like the 2 squares inside of each other. That's the display. But sometimes you have to be in Windows for that to take effect. So, if like I said, if the caps lock is turning on and off, that means you are posting. So you're not dead. So it is worth some further investigation into some other techniques.
Yeah. It does sound like a video thing.
I've already taken apart the whole thing, yeah. Yep, I'm not sure.
Is it all Frankenstein all over your floor? Then that might be part of the problem. I don't know.
Okay, if I lick this, it turns on.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep moving. Sorry. I saw tech support going all through the chat. I had to address it. All right. We already talked briefly about Overload. It is out for Steam right now. It is coming to consoles later this month and potentially coming to Switch.
Don't know.
I keep
We'll
saying
see.
that because I really hope you guys are, because I already bought it for PC. I will buy it again if you release it for Switch. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But Overload, for those who don't know, this is the spiritual successor to Descent.
Yeah.
This is made by the same development team that developed the original Descent game from Parallax Software and Interplay back in 1994.
And you can watch Jeff's video on it.
And you can watch my video on it, and you can watch me blow up in there, but I actually did pretty good. So
he did better than the guy who was before us.
Oh, he got his butt kicked, and that was funny to watch. I will say I played the original Descent back in 1994, and I didn't play on keyboard and mouse because that really wasn't a thing back then, although they did have that as a flight mechanic.
Yes,
I played all on a 104-key keyboard on a Model M keyboard. All keyboard. With a 6 degree of freedom flight sim. And that was like steering the freaking Enterprise.
Oh, no, it was, because there's no acceleration. Just hold down the thing and...
Right, well, there was some acceleration built in, so it wouldn't just like snap you.
Okay.
And so it would kind of glide you from one spot to the next. But you think 6 axes is what I was working on. Because you have forward, back, you have turn left, turn right, you have strafe left, strafe right, you have strafe up, strafe down, and you have rotation.
Yes. VR.
Exactly. So, also pitch, you're right. Yeah. So I remember playing on a keyboard and being able to do like these complex, like strafe, rotate,
and then keep going,
and point myself in the right direction. Plus being able to fire with both your primary and your secondary. Plus, I was quite good on that.
No, I always played with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Descent too.
Anymore, I play with dual joysticks.
Yeah.
I have dual Logitech joysticks that I play with. And I play Overload in VR, which, by the way, VR, amazing experience.
I can't even imagine doing that game in VR.
Yeah, we've got to fire that up for you someday.
That makes me sick just looking at it without VR.
Yep. And like I said, so I play with dual joysticks, and so it's literally like flying a ship because you've got all these axes to think about. And you have buttons for your strafe up, strafe down, left, right. This is your rotation and your pitch on this one, and so you're constantly doing this number when you're going around things. And then this is your forward, back, and then this is your pivot left and right.
Yeah.
But it's quite fun.
Yeah,
quite fun. Go buy it if you haven't already.
Yes,
it's an amazing game.
It's on my wish list. I haven't.
You played this one primarily.
I did. I primarily played this one.
Yeah. So this is Disco Elysium. This is another dystopian future.
I would say dystopian alternate future.
Alternate future.
Yeah.
Alternate past.
Yes. Because it's supposed to take place in 1951.
Right.
But 1951 looks like the 60s and 70s.
Looks like stylistically it's the 60s and 70s, and the art style in this reminds me of like an oil painting.
Yeah. It's very artistic.
Very stylistic. Now, this is an alternate past because this takes place in a universe where the automotive industry never took off.
Right.
The transportation of this is actually motorized carriages, where it's reminiscent of, okay, let's strap a Tesla electric engine onto a carriage, and that gets us from place to place. Yeah. And you can go like 3 or 4 miles, and that's it. Yeah. Now, it's more efficient than a horse, but just barely.
Yeah.
So... go ahead and explain.
Yeah, and it's also all takes place in the isometric perspective, kind of like Baldur's Gate and all
Diablo,
all those type of things. And it's an RPG, but it's also very, very dialogue heavy, very narrative, where a lot of the options in your dialogue can only be reached if you have a certain spec.
Right.
Now you can go through, and this is obviously a detective RPG, so you're trying to solve a case as you go through it.
My name is Shepard, and this is my favorite bar in the Citadel.
Yeah.
So it did remind me a lot of Mass Effect with how the Mass Effect 1 with how dialogue heavy and narrative heavy it was.
There's the parts that I didn't have much voice acting. But it was very, very dialogue heavy and very interesting story. It kind of grips you right away. The hard-boiled detective. you kind of wake up drunk in your room or with a hangover.
It's more than a hangover.
Yeah,
you find out.
Yeah, as you find out. But I tried leaving the room without my pants, and they wouldn't let me.
So the story goes, you wake up in your hotel room with complete amnesia. You don't remember who you are, or where you are, or why you are, and you can only determine that you tried to drink yourself to death.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you had to go find your clothes and everything like that. And I talked to the devs. I said, you got to put no pants option.
Yep.
There's got to be a way to walk out without your pants. But yeah, whatever. We'll see if they listen to me. But yeah, this is something. If you like a good, hard-boiled detective style story, that's very artistic looking, very pretty to look at.
Very pretty.
I thought the artwork was excellent.
This is totally a game that I would play.
Yeah, and it does have some interesting depth to it. I didn't get to the point where I got into any combat, so I don't know if there's any combat in there or not.
There is some combat elements. I don't remember what style they said.
I don't remember what it was either, because I didn't get to that point.
Right,
because it's not early on.
It's again all isometric. I don't know if they're going for like a Knights of the Old Republic style, where it's more of a turn-based, strategy-based, or if it's live action. Something tells me this game is going to be more of the strategy-based combat.
I would think so too.
Yeah, strategy dice roll kind of thing.
Yeah, I would think so. With it being an RPG.
Yeah.
I would think so. But this is definitely something I put on my wish list.
Yeah.
I'm going to go check it out when it comes out. Yeah, it looks very, very cool.
Yep.
If you're into that type of stuff, I would recommend it too.
Absolutely. What else we got? Let's see.
What else do we see here?
Padre was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Padre and the Observer. Those are two games being developed by kind of sister developers.
Yes.
I will call them.
Yeah, they're both Polish developers. There's a lot of Polish developers there.
Yeah, a lot of Polish, a lot of Swedish.
Yeah.
But we'll go over these very briefly. Both of these are kind of horror flicks.
Right.
Now, the Padre is kind of a, I don't want to call it Minecraft, but more of a voxel graphic.
A voxel-looking graphic type of thing.
Voxel graphic story-driven horror RPG.
Yeah, they said that they kind of wanted to capture, I guess, more of the old-school horror games. Not like the newer ones, but more like the old school ones. Even to the point where he says, "Well, we even put tank controls in there." And
right.
No, get rid of the tank controls.
Right.
No one liked tank controls.
Right.
He's like, yeah, we got to get rid of
it. Yeah, we figured that out.
Yeah, he says, we figured that out.
But the Hugo Whodunits, the point and click style of those, that's the style game they're going for here.
Yeah.
And it graphically was very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought of a very beautiful game in its own right and very, very unique.
Yeah, atmospheric.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yep. So
they didn't have too much material there when we were there. They just had some video and some screenshots. Not a playable demo, but it did look neat.
Yep.
And so that was cool.
The one that kind of intrigued me was the Observer.
Yes. So if anybody out there has ever played Layers of Fear.
Yeah.
This is the same developer as Layers of Fear. And this is kind of in the same vein of a cyberpunk horror almost.
Yeah. So again, you're a detective, but you have a rather unique ability, and that is to interface with people and read their memories.
Yeah.
And now...
Depending on how fresh their body is.
Depending on how fresh their corpse is.
Yes.
So, remember, if you're in the brain of a dying person, their brain isn't functioning very well.
Yeah, it's starting to deteriorate, and when you're in there...
And things are kind of scattered.
Yeah, things are starting to go weird.
Remember when you interface with Kellogg's memory in Fallout 4,
right.
How everything's disjointed and just doesn't make sense, or there's a voice coming from someone that doesn't exist, or the room is shaped very differently, or you look this way and it's a wall and you turn around and that's not the way you came from.
Yeah.
Very
much like
reminiscent
that. Very
of that.
much like that, yeah.
But very, very, again, a very intriguing art style.
Yeah.
Where it was this... See, I'm trying to figure out things to compare it to so you know what I'm talking about. Tech Syndicate, or not Tech Syndicate, what is the... Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's cyberpunk, kind of what they described it as. It's a much darker cyberpunk, though.
Yeah.
From what we saw in...
Sorry, I was thinking Tech Wars, not Tech Syndicate.
Okay, Tech Wars. Yeah, Tech Wars. But
not the YouTube channel, the William Shatner novel.
Yes, of course.
Those are two very different things.
Yeah. But yeah, very tech heavy, very story heavy.
High.
As a kite.
As a kite by then. And I think it's going to be... Okay, I'm done.
No, your Shatner's not very good.
No, it's not. Okay. So yeah, The Observer, again, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a game that I would play through. It's available today for $30.
Yeah, it's out there right now.
Yep. I think I saw enough of it. I think it's worth a $30 price. If they were asking any more, I'd say definitely not. And I'd say if it was $15, it'd be an instant buy.
Yeah, I have to go. I'll wait until it goes on sale. My backlog is too huge. I can't.
And that's where I'm at. My backlog is.
I mean, if I had nothing else to play, I'd totally try it right now.
Yep.
But
Beast Simulator and Astroneers. Those are our next two.
Yeah, the next two. Okay, real quick about Beast Simulator because I was this is the one that I thought was like really super cool, just based on the trailer that they had.
Yep.
And it looked, I mean, even when we went and looked at it graphically...
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's beautiful graphics.
Beautiful graphics.
Yeah.
And when we talked to the guy, he was like, well, originally we wanted this to be...
An educational
game for kids.
Yeah.
So all the mechanics were very, very simple, very easy. And then he's like, well, when we released the trailer, all these adults got excited.
Yeah.
Because they said, this looks really cool. We want to play this.
Yeah.
And he's like... I made this for kids.
Yeah, I made this to teach kids about bees and teach them why preservation is important and pesticides are bad. Yeah. That's why I made this game.
Yeah, and he's like, now we got to put some hard adult mode in there. Yeah. So all they had to show at the show was the kids mode.
Yes.
And it was very easy.
Yes.
And I tried and whenever I played, I'd like just try to fly in guys' faces and fly at their nose, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll put so you get swatted away."
That'll be an post.
That'll be we'll do that later. And I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna fly up his nose right now."
Right. So the flight mechanics were okay, but they were very, very fast, which does kind of make sense. But even when you were walking, it was very, very fast.
Yeah, that's the fastest bee I've ever seen walk before.
Like, think of a bee going from here to here on my desk in less than a half a second. Just
it was like if the Flash was a bee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
totally. It was like just zipping across.
Yeah. Yeah, you were walking at the same speed you were flying.
But yeah, it was kind of neat. But it wouldn't be anything unless I'd have to go see what the...
I'd have to see what mode they came out with.
Right, yeah.
What the gameplay would actually be like. Because the combat with the Hornets wasn't like real action combat. No. It was rock, paper, scissors.
It really was. Yeah.
It was, I'm going to attack you now, and if I click the mouse, I'm going to defend.
Yeah.
And hey, the defense was super effective.
Yeah. And it was obviously something for kids.
Yes. Yeah. My 5-year-old would love this.
Yes, she probably would.
She would absolutely love this game.
Now if it comes out, you got to get it at least for her.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But as an adult, I need to see more gameplay first.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the educational side of this was actually very cool, what they were trying to do.
They did also have with the multiplayer, you can do the bee dance competitions.
Oh, that's right.
The bee dance-offs.
Yeah.
Where, like, you'd have to follow a bee in his dance, and it was kind of like Simon Says, basically, is what it was. But
so we stopped by the Astroneer booth, and I've been aware of Astroneer for quite a long time.
It's been out for a while. It's been out for a couple months.
It's been on my list. It's been on my wish list just so I stay aware of it, because it looked... very, very good.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And after playing it, it reminds me of a way, way more polished No Man's Sky.
It does. It looked way more, because I ended up picking up No Man's Sky because I was extremely leery when it first came out. And
I bought it when it first came out.
Yeah, I know. No, I was extremely leery because there's just too much hype behind it. I know when that happens, it's never a good thing. So I
should have read through Sony's advertising. I should have read straight through it.
I ended up when the whole building improvements and stuff came out, I ended up finding it for like about $15. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, $15, I'll pick it up. Yep. So I did pick it up and I played a little bit of it.
I could have bought 4 of them for that.
I think I played it for like maybe about 3 hours or so, just enough to get my ship off the planet and fly around a little bit and stuff like that.
Didn't realize how bad the flight mechanics were.
And then, but just this little bit of playing with Astroneer, I think I like Astroneer better.
I like Astroneer a lot more.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I do.
I mean, I didn't get into the whole new stuff that they put into...
I haven't played the next update yet.
I haven't played that part either, but just so far...
Your mechanics aren't going to improve that much as to make it a completely different game.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, Astroneer drew me in immediately.
Yes.
It took me a long time to like, even give a shit about No Man's Sky.
So I will say I bought No Man's Sky opening day. I bought it like 3 hours before release because I went, you know what? I've got a long weekend. I think I can sink a lot of game into this weekend.
Yeah.
I might as well play something new. And so I bought it. I downloaded it. I played it hour 1.
Yeah.
And it took me 15 hours that first weekend.
Yeah.
I spent like 8 hours the first night. I stayed up all night long and played it because I think it released at like 10 p.m. my time. So I didn't go to bed till like 6.
Oh man, yeah.
And I just stayed up playing it. I was just building things and mining and exploring. And it looks beautiful. The gameplay feels a little shallow, but maybe it's because I'm so early. Maybe it's because I haven't gotten off the planet yet. Maybe it's because I haven't done this yet. Maybe it's me who's missing why this is such a great game.
No, it's never you. It's
them. And it's like, okay, well, maybe if I can get my ship to take off, I can figure out what this game is about. And the ship takes off, and you're held at this horizontal plane, and all you can do is fly around, and you can't see where you're going to land, and you can't fly up or down or through like bridges and alcoves and things like that. Yeah. And you visit a dozen or 30 bases or something like that. And you go, wow, all of these are the same, and there's the same one guy working at every single one of them, and they either give me a chest, or they try to kill me, or they say, hey, would you like this new weapon? That's it. There was like 3 bases that you could land at.
Super shallow.
And you can never land at the freaking base, because you didn't know where you were on the planet.
Yeah.
But I went, maybe once I get off-world, this will have a little bit more dynamic flight. You get off-world, and you're flying through an asteroid belt the entire time.
Yeah.
And the asteroids render about 100 feet in front of your ship.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, maybe I'll go to the space station. Nope, it's the same space station every time with the same 5 ships that landed, and you can only upgrade your ship. You can't buy a new ship.
Yeah.
And I spent 15 hours going, maybe it's me. And it wasn't me. It was that the game was crap.
Yeah.
And I played once they did the base building update, and I played for like 3 hours trying to get back into it, and it's like, yeah, it's better, but it's not good.
Yeah.
And I haven't played the next update yet.
Yeah.
Astroneer hooked me immediately.
Yeah.
I could play Astroneer.
Yeah.
And I probably will. I'm going to pick it up. And start playing.
And it's still
$20.
$20.
$20.
Right? I mean, you could probably wait for, a sale or something like that and probably get it for like 15, 20, or 15 or 10.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's like immediately just hooked me in.
Just good game.
Yeah.
Very good game. Very polished, very well thought out.
Yeah, and it's still in early access, so if it's this playable now, it's going to have a lot more elements when it's finally released.
Yep, exactly. We got some $2. Well, yes, hello. I would like to purchase Shatner karaoke. Let me make sure those were my.
Here, I'll say his message in William Shatner speak.
Okay, go for it.
Hello. I'd like to purchase Shatner karaoke.
That was okay.
Was that okay?
That was okay.
I think I could do better.
And I think it's gonna be a long time. Touchstone brings me around again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, no,
Rocket Man.
I'm a rocket man. Rocket Man. Yeah, there you go. Burning out his fuse out here. Alone.
That is a great music time with you right there. But still, nothing beats Leonard Nimoy singing the Hobbit song.
Oh man. No one remembers that either.
No one does either. Everyone remembers Shatner's Rocket Man.
Shatner going.
No one remembers Leonard Nimoy's
spoken word singing
Hobbit song.
Yeah. Man. I don't even remember the words to that.
Something about a little hobbit. It was yeah. Yep. He actually sang it pretty fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Whew.
All right, what's the second message?
Customer tries to overclock an i7 8700K to 4.7 at 1.3 on a 240 rad without delidding or liquid metal, and then he complains he gets 90C solution. Number one, lower your freaking voltage. There's no way 1.3 is the only stable you can get to 4.7, because 4.7 is the turbo, remember. Mm-hmm. So it's doing that on its own.
Yeah.
Now, on all-core, you could probably do that at 1.25. Yeah. And the 240 rad by itself is enough to cool an 8700K at 4.7, because that's within stock speeds. You'll get
fine, yeah.
You'll get 4.2 across all cores. You'll get 4.7 on 2 cores. Mm-hmm. So That is not what outside of the realm of possibility should be. If you were saying he was at 5.2 at 1.3 volts, lower your freaking overclock.
Yeah, that's way too
and D-lid and liquid metal. Seriously, 1.25 should be more than plenty for a 4.7 overclock. That is not an aggressive overclock on that chip. In fact, if that's all he can get, then he lost the silicon lottery and he's in like the bottom 30%.
Right, he's got something bad going on.
So lower it down to 1.25 at the most. Maybe even like a 1.22. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I would say there.
You should be cut off. Too much alcohol. No, I think not enough alcohol, actually.
No, we haven't hit the Balmer peak yet.
Exactly. The Balmer peak has not been hit. I'm just
in
starting
fact,
to warm up.
In fact, I have a breathalyzer out in the car if you're curious.
That means I have to go out to the car.
That means I have to go out to the truck.
Maybe afterwards.
Yeah, maybe afterwards.
We'll see how far it is.
I'll post it on Twitter.
Okay, there we go. That'll be good. Because I did have a little bit of a snoot snap before I came over here.
Yeah, I had another one of my blood orange ones before you came over.
Oh, yeah, you had to choke one down.
So I had a 12-ounce primer.
I had to choke one down. I get it.
I had a 12-ounce primer first. So, yeah. After the show, I've got some Johnny Walker Black 12
that's
year.
right. Yeah, you were telling me wasn't that the Jane Walker stuff?
Jane Walker edition. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Different bottle.
Let's just
same
scotch.
we got a couple more games to talk about.
Okay, yeah, we do.
Total War, beautiful graphics. Definitely more intriguing gameplay, more intelligent AI.
You'll have to talk more about this because
this is a longer talk, and I don't think I want to get into.
Let me tell you how this worked because where Sega, this is a Sega game, where Sega was situated at the convention center,
was right next to the LAN stage.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the LAN stage; it was a tournament stage.
Or tournament stage, yeah.
The LAN area was across the street, but it was a tournament area, and the announcers were very loud, and we were in. It was a private booth that we were in.
Yeah, we got taken back to the press area with no roof.
Yeah, but it was so loud, and the I think it was the art director and
one of the writers.
Yeah. And then it was Rhett was sitting next to them, and you were sitting across from them, and I was sitting over here. I couldn't hear a thing they said.
I haven't even listened to the audio yet because I recorded the conversation, and I will be surprised if I get more than.
Yeah. I had.
And he makes an amazing move, and it's.
I had a hard time understanding it.
Yeah.
And these guys looked. They were tired too because they're like, we got the horrible.
We got shafted with this location
because they looked like I don't want to talk anymore.
Right.
I'm done. Trying to raise my voice.
And we were trying to have a conversation, and both of them had mild accents. Not that I couldn't understand in everyday speech, but it was enough that I couldn't hear them.
French Canadian, maybe.
Yeah. But I couldn't hear them through the overhead announcement of the game tournament that was going on. Loud. So I don't know if it was like a Street Fighter tournament or.
It sounded like a Street Fighter tournament.
Yeah, I thought I heard Blanca a couple times.
Yeah.
But it was like literally. The room that we were in was a 12 by 8 room, something like that. Big, yeah. And it had no roof, so it literally just collected the sound and let it reverb in our space. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But
that being said,
gameplay was pretty impressive.
It was pretty impressive.
If you're a fan of the Total War games, and if you're a fan of the general and troop style gameplay.
Yes. Or just of the old Three Kingdoms storyline.
Yeah.
Like they had the Romance of the Three Kingdoms from the old NES.
Yes.
Nobunga's Ambition, those type of games.
Yep.
This is very reminiscent of that same storyline.
Yes. But massive scale battles with quite a few new features as far as relations between the kingdoms and the heroes that are in the game.
I did like the hero duel that they had.
That was
on
cool.
The thing they can have them. The two generals would get down off their horses and they would fight each other. To the death.
Yep.
It was pretty neat.
So it was a lot of fun. I survived the first wave admirably.
Yes.
In fact, they actually complimented how well I did.
And you got stomped.
And then I got stomped the hell out the second wave. I almost was able to make a break for the exit.
Yeah.
Because in this game, the level that I was playing, or actually any of the games, if you just have to make it to a destination, all you have to do is make it to the destination.
Yeah.
And I obliterated the first wave of guys. I killed all their armies. I killed all 3 of their heroes. Didn't take a single loss myself outside of some ground troops.
The second wave was much bigger.
The second wave was much bigger, and I had split my army in a way that the second wave hit me perfectly.
Yeah, right in the middle and split and divided you.
Yeah, I was already divided, and then they came in the middle and then split me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't recover from it.
Yeah.
So I did a really good job of splitting the first wave, but then it left me vulnerable for the second wave. I couldn't recoup.
Yeah.
So, but very, very interesting gameplay.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Total War games, or like Steve said, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms storylines, this is true to the historical storylines.
Yeah,
so definitely a buy if you're a fan of those games, or RTS games in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get to too many more of these. Was there any one left on the list that you wanted to cover?
Let me see here. Well, let me see. That one I didn't get to play that one.
Because I watched Moonlighter. In fact, we have a video coming out with an interview with the writer of Moonlighter, so that'll be up on the channel.
Okay, let's talk about this one, and then I want to hit a few that
you didn't get to.
We didn't get to, but we think are interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably the bottom two.
Or which ones? We can probably cover this because we didn't get to play them.
Right.
We can't say too much about them, but just to say that.
So I'm assuming you want that one and this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So one of them that we actually just kind of stumbled upon.
Yeah.
This was like we were waiting to get into Nvidia, and they were just like, "Hey, do you guys want to play?
Hey, do you guys want to stop in? See what we're all about?"
And it was kind of interesting because it's from BioShock and Dishonored developers.
Yes,
who are making this game. Very interesting premise. It's called the Blackout Club, and it's I'll
say psychological horror first.
Yes, psychological horror is the theme.
Yes,
4-player co-op is the mechanic, and the storyline goes is that you are in a radio-free city. Which actually exists. There's
there's a radio-free zone in the state of Virginia where people live, and what it's meant for is military and radio site testing where there's no interference, or as little interference as they can make.
Right. And so there's something weird going on that's happening here. The parents are being controlled by these... I don't want to give too much away, but they're being controlled, and there's a small group of teenagers who are waking up, and one of them in particular gets kidnapped, and then you, as your 4 friends, are supposed to go out, and on these missions are supposed to, you're supposed to complete these missions that are supposed to help solve the mystery, basically.
Yeah.
And it's it's not a run and gun type of a thing. It's not a 4-player co-op like Left 4 Dead.
By the way, there's no guns at all.
Yeah, there's no guns.
There's no violence at all.
The enemies are your parents and your friends' parents and your teachers and that are being controlled. So you don't want to kill them.
So you don't want to bash them over the head with a rock and beat them into a pulp.
So you want to tranquilize them, sneak past them. It's very stealthy, very strategy based, trying to figure things out to get past and go around things.
So the premise of the storyline is, and someone said Alan Wake style. Not really.
The atmosphere is kind of Alan Wake-ish.
Yes, everything takes place at night. So what happens is there's a group underground of monks or something like that.
Something weird going on.
That are controlling your parents through music. They've got these giant bass strings that they're playing, and your parents are waking up in the night and sleepwalking.
Yeah.
And your parents are waking up and they're digging tunnels underground. They're digging through their garages and digging these underground tunnels. And you start to know, and you notice it, but the parents wake up at weird places. They'll wake up along the fence line, going, "How the hell did I get here? And why are my hands all cut up?"
Yeah.
But they don't know what's going on. Well, the kids can see the parents walking around, and they're trying to tell them there's something weird going on. It's like, no, I'm just hungover. Go back to bed.
Well, there's nothing else to do in that town except drink, probably.
Right, exactly. God forbid it's a dry county.
Yeah.
So the kids are aware of what's going on. So they start waking up at night to investigate, to see what their parents are doing. Right. And what they find is their parents really are digging these tunnels at night.
Yeah.
And as the kids are starting to investigate, one of the kids gets kidnapped.
Yes.
And that's where the Blackout Club comes in, is they're trying to get their friend back.
Yeah.
Now, all the levels in this are procedural. It's the same setting, it's the same houses.
Yes.
But the guard patterns and the placement
missions,
of the parents and the missions and the objectives, they're all procedural.
Different. Yeah, they're all different.
So every single mission that you play is 100% different.
Yeah.
So the mission that we played was we're investigating a break-in in a house.
Right.
So we start at the Blackout Club.
It was
clubhouse.
It was a disaster.
Now I did decently well until you got caught.
No, okay, I got caught because that other guy who we don't know who played with us broke a door,
barged into the house,
ran out the house, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I went smack into an adult who like got me.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was bad.
Yep.
It was not me. I was trying to be stealthy.
So anyway, the adults, they cannot see you, but they can hear you. They wear cloaks over their faces so they don't wake up.
So if you make a lot of noise,
they'll rustle over to you and try to catch you. And if they catch you, remember, adults are way bigger and stronger than you are. So they'll drag you by your ankles out into the street and then they'll indoctrinate you.
Yeah. But your teammates can sneak behind the parent, jump on their back
and tackle them and punch them in the back and that kind of thing.
Try to get them off. Yeah, like there's a screenshot right there.
Right. And you can hold the adults down, but you cannot subdue them unless you have a tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Remember, they're a lot stronger than you are.
Yeah.
You're 10 years old.
Yeah.
You ever try to beat up a full-grown adult? It don't happen.
Like teenagers, but yeah, whatever. You're much younger and not as
strong. So anyway, there is a bad guy within the game called the Shape.
Yes.
And the Shape is invisible, but he can be seen if you close your eyes.
Yeah.
So there's a mechanic in the game where if you press a button on the keyboard, you'll see your eyelids close.
Right.
And you kind of get that red, foggy view.
Yeah.
And you can see a silhouette, like this yellow silhouette among the red haze in your eyes of a creature moving around you.
Yeah.
And when your eyes are open, you get little shimmers in your vision for possibly a direction that he'll be in. Kind of like an eye twitching.
He only pursues the person who
has been naughty.
Who's been
the most naughty.
Who's been making the most noise or making the most ruckus.
Or has been seen.
Or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're the stealthy guy, they're going to go after your buddy. You're going to be pretty much okay as long as you don't get right.
So I was the third person that they went after because they went after Steve first.
They went after me first, but I actually was stealthy enough to get away, and then they went off that guy who actually kicked the door open.
Yeah, they caught him. I got caught by an adult, and I feel really bad about that. I got drugged down the freaking stairs.
Yeah. It was very confusing, but it was pretty fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was actually a lot of fun.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind checking this game out. They're supposed to beta test it here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm concerned about is that if there's not an audience for that, it won't take off. And I'm going to hope there was, because I kind of had a lot of fun playing it.
Yep. So this is a game that's going to live and die if a community exists.
Exactly.
It requires human interaction. There's no such thing as an AI child.
Yeah.
And you have to have AI. There are AI adults in the Shape and whatnot, but the mechanic of the game is based upon you interacting with other players. So if this game gains a lot of traction, I think it could be very good.
Yeah.
If this game sells 50 copies, it's going to die as quickly as it's released.
Yes, it will.
So if you're interested in this game, and if you're interested in an indie developer doing something outside of the normal game mechanic.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very unique.
Very unique. It
was very different.
And decent art style.
Yeah,
it was simplistic, but it was good.
Yeah.
So I would say give these guys your support if you're interested in this kind of a game where it's not a shooter, it's a first person psychological horror strategy game.
Yeah.
Is what I would call it.
Co-op strategy.
Exactly. So you have to be in communication with your people
friend. Yeah, exactly.
about where things are at.
Yeah.
And we figured that out way too late.
Yeah. Well, I think me and you figured it out.
Yeah.
The two guys we were with,
they were running around breaking windows.
Yeah, they're like, this is great. Let's go destroy stuff.
Meanwhile, Steve got seen by an adult very early on, and I went, dude, there's one like literally right there, and he goes, oh, okay, cool, and we jumped over the fence and we were fine. Well, then we're sneaking around the side of the house, and I'm along the fence line, and Steve is by the sliding door, and he thinks he's hidden by the sliding door, but there's an adult on the other side of the glass sliding door. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I was tucked in the corner being very quiet because they said that they can't see.
Right.
They can only hear, so I was being very quiet.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know, maybe they stepped on my toes or something.
Yep. Yeah, so he literally runs into one and then wonders why the hell he got caught.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, I will say 3 of the 4 of us made it upstairs to the place we were supposed to be
I made it upstairs, but I wasn't, because we're supposed to go upstairs, find evidence, and take a picture with our cell phone.
Yeah.
We made it upstairs, could not find what we were supposed to take a picture of.
Yeah, I made it into the garage and got the evidence in the garage, and then I made it upstairs, and as soon as I made it into the bedroom where the evidence was, I got tackled from behind by an adult and drugged by my ankles down the stairs into the street and beaten into a pulp.
Yeah, there's probably for every mission they probably have some kind of stealth way of getting in there.
Yes,
because when you first start the mission, you start
or you just sacrifice one of your friends.
Yeah, you could do that too. You start at the clubhouse and you get to pick a weapon.
Yeah.
And your weapons are like a stun gun, a tranquilizer dart, a grappling hook, and I think there was another one. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like the grappling hook allows you to like launch a thing onto the roof, and you can climb up on. It
was also insanely difficult to use.
Yeah, it did not seem very intuitive.
Yeah,
it looked like because like when we first started off, some guy fell off the cliff like immediately, and he got stuck, and he's like, just throw me the grappling hook. So I throw him the grappling hook. It's like, how do I use this? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So. But interesting game. It
was very, it's a very good game.
So games that we didn't get to see. Now I'm going to go through the list of a couple of things that we did get to see. I got to play a game called Fimble, which is based in Nordic mythology.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
And it was a lot of fun. It was an action RPG. I don't want to call it quite a slash and hack.
Yeah.
But it was kind of that same mechanic. Very unique art style.
Really like the art style.
Somewhere between an oil painting and cell shading.
Yeah.
But very, very beautiful, and it tells a lot of Nordic mythology in the storyline. Yeah. But definitely worth checking out. That's called Fimble. It's down in the video description. Moonlighter, again, Rhett has a video coming out on that. Pilot Sports, which is the spiritual successor to Pilot Wings.
Yeah, so if you like Pilot Wings, then definitely check that one out.
If you like the gyrocopter, hang gliding, parachuting, jetpack, doing stunts with those aircraft, that's a game coming out for PC and Switch.
No, it's not coming out for PC, actually. It's only coming out for Switch and
really?
PS4, yeah.
I thought it was coming out for PC.
I talked to the guy and like, hey, it's not coming out for PC.
Only console.
Yeah, it's only console, yeah.
Oh, I'll probably get it for Switch then.
Yeah, it's coming out for Switch, coming out for PS4.
PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
So probably no crossplay, safe to say.
Oh, yeah, that is none.
La Mulana?
Yeah, that was like it's literally the closest you can get for a Metrovania.
Yes.
It's if you like Metrovania type games.
Yeah.
I played the first one. I thought it was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you have a whip and you're going mapping out this thing. You adventure.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first one, but never playing it.
Yeah, it's a lot harder
than
it looks. I found it to be pretty fun. I played the second one. It seemed to be even more difficult, but. Dauntless.
And then you and I played Dauntless.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with
I wasn't too impressed. Yeah. It was the one game that left me wanting a lot more.
Yes.
And especially from kind of a better developer.
Yeah, it basically is...
Because this is Devolver, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Devolver, yeah.
Yeah. This was a game... Now, again, it's early alpha.
Yeah.
But they are showing some gameplay from it.
It is on open beta, so you can download it right now and play it if you want to.
Right.
But it's basically a co-op Monster Hunter.
Right.
Is basically what it is.
Now, they're only doing the large monsters right now.
Yeah.
They only had a couple boss fights available to us.
Yeah.
I don't know what level of progression our heroes were at, but they weren't nearly enough to beat the monster that we were fighting.
The combat seemed very clunky.
The combat was... I was swinging my sword, and the monster had zero reaction to my hits.
Right.
Which is always an instant detractor, because how am I supposed to combo? How am I supposed to have any sort of strategy when I'm supposed to be walking up and just going...
I couldn't chain any moves. I could not figure out any combos.
Yep. And we were so freaking slow...
Yes.
By the time you approach the monster, he's already mid-swing, ready to bust your ass wide open.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it
I could literally get I make contact 2 or 3 times, and that was
I did a little bit better than you. Yeah. I got a couple good combos going on, but I would get like 4 to 5 swings. But that 5th swing left me so vulnerable, and at that point he's going.
Yeah. And I couldn't even find the health of the boss. I couldn't. Did you see that?
No,
I couldn't either.
So, there was no benefit to having 4 players there, because you couldn't work cooperatively.
No.
It was just
didn't seem like there was any cohesive strategy you can ascertain.
Right. It was a 4v1 hack and slash with no reaction from the AI.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like, and it left me going. There's got to be something better.
It seemed like whoever was doing it the most damage got the attention.
Yes.
But there was no character class that was necessarily a tank or a healer or anything like that. It didn't seem that way anyway. So
we played all 4 different heroes.
Yeah.
All 4 of us had different heroes. All 4 of them seemed way too slow, way too clunky.
Yeah.
With no... I mean, you were a tank and I was a swordsman.
Yeah.
My swordsman was a power swordsman, so he had the 2-handed stance with the giant giant sword.
And I just had the big axe.
And you had a giant battle axe. Neither one of us seemed to have enough health to be able to survive long enough, and neither one of us had enough tact to do a damn.
No.
So,
and I don't even know how much damage we did because I couldn't find any health meter on the thing.
And we just got obliterated, and it was not for lack of trying or lack of strategy. It's like we all four of us were actively talking to each other, trying to go, I'll flank him from over here, and then the monster takes one swing and just beats the hell out of all four of us.
His tail swings around and just knocks everybody down.
Yeah, so.
And then they had all these thorns that came up for some reason. You couldn't get to the heal points.
Right.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah. And then some of the heal points worked and some of them didn't.
Yeah, I know. It seemed very, not ready for prime time at all.
Yeah.
It did, I mean, it did say on the website it is alpha.
Maybe it will improve.
Maybe it will.
I wasn't impressed.
I wasn't impressed.
I was not impressed. There were some other alpha games that I played there, like the little gerbil one, the Biomutant and Generation Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Those were both alpha games, and they played
really good.
Very,
a lot
very
better,
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked great, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right, some other games that we didn't get to play. But we passed by them and say, hey, this looks really interesting.
Yep. But I'm not standing in line 3 hours.
I'm not standing in line 3 hours to play them. And a lot of these were indie titles, too.
Yep.
There was a lot of mainstream games like
Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man 4. So those lines were insane.
Yes.
The Valve card game.
Yeah.
That thing was like 3 hours just to get in there and play that.
Ancients.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Ancients. It was...
I thought it was called Ancients.
No, it's not Ancients. No, just do Valve card game.
Artifact.
Artifact, yeah, there you go.
That was close.
Yeah, okay. It started with an A. I'll give you props for that.
I was close.
It's Artifact. I'm sure in the chat someone said it right away. It's like, I hope you guys saw Artifact. And like, no, we did not. It was. I mean, we saw it, but there was like a 3 hour line just to get in to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, one of the ones that we saw, it was up in the indie booth. It was pretty close to where was it, the EVGA? It was right behind the EVGA guys, I think.
Yes.
It was Pray for the Gods.
Yes.
Now, if you're a big fan of Shadow Colossus,
yeah.
If you like Shadow Colossus, you should check this game out right now because it looks exactly like it.
Yeah.
It looks like a sequel to Shadow Colossus. Mm-hmm. Even some of the gameplay that I saw from just standing back at the crowd was pretty deep. Mm-hmm. It literally looked like Shadow Colossus. You had to go sit there and grab on them and shimmy up their fur, find their vulnerability, stab it, do the type of stuff.
Yep.
Just like in Shadow of Colossus. And that's supposed to be coming soon. I don't know too much about it. We didn't get to talk about it that much, but that's something that would be kind of cool to take a look at.
Yep.
Another one that I saw that I thought was pretty neat was Donut County.
Yep.
If you guys are a fan of, like, what was it? Daramatri Kamachi? The one?
Yeah.
The one where you roll the ball and you collect things.
No, the one that you're a wormhole or you're.
Well, this is your hole.
Right.
But you're a hole. You start out small. You got to find things to suck into the hole. And your hole gets bigger.
There's a mobile game as well that you're a hole.
Yeah, this is what it is. But there's also missions around it and stuff that you have to do. It looked pretty fun. A lot of people were giving positive feedback about that.
Yep.
I guess it's going to come out for Steam, PS4, good old games.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is pretty good.
Yep.
My friend Pedro.
Yes.
We are all looking forward to this
one. We are all, yeah.
Whoops.
So I think we came to a consensus that this is like a 2D Max Payne with bullet time with Deadpool pool level humor.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
action.
And action, yeah.
Where it's over the top, it's overly acrobatic. And what was the quote that I posted? A violent ballet about friendship, imagination, and one man's struggle to obliterate anyone in his path at the behest of a sentient banana.
Yeah. Sounds perfect.
Yes.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this is one that I noticed at E3 that I'm just like, I can't wait to see this game. We got to see it at PAX, but we didn't get to play it. Cause
again, it was about a 3 hour line.
It was a very
to
long
get
line.
into it.
And so, yeah, that's another one I think everybody should look out for.
Yep.
And then I think there was
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game, which I didn't think was the actual name of the game, but it's actually Untitled
totally is.
Goose Game. It is a stealth game where you play as a goose.
You play as what was it? A horrible goose.
Yeah, a horrible goose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
about this game. It's a lovely morning in the village, and you are a horrible goose.
Yeah.
Untitled Goose Game is a slapstick stealth sandbox where you are a goose let on the loose on unsuspecting village. Make your way around town from people's back gardens to high street shops to the village green, setting up pranks, stealing hats, honking a lot, and generally ruining everyone's day. Featuring a horrible goose, that's you. A town full of people just trying to get on with their day. You hate them. A dedicated honk button.
Yeah.
End of description.
Yeah. If anybody has grown up on a farm or near geese, they are assholes.
Yes.
Geese are assholes.
Yes.
I remember growing up, there was a pair of geese that would just terrorize me and my brothers and sisters.
Yep.
This was before John. He probably would have raped John, but whatever.
Graphically all cel shaded, and it looks very, very cartoony and very good.
The animation looks very smooth, very lifelike.
Yeah.
In fact, we were sitting there watching
and very comical. And
yeah,
there were a couple times that we started just laughing.
Yeah, we started watching these people play, and we were just chuckling because it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked very well done.
Yeah. But yeah, very simple mechanics, little bit of problem solving, kind of like the early Ocarina of Time puzzle mechanics, sneaking past the guards in the castle gardens. It reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, this would be something that would be really good for the Switch too.
Yes, I think so. I think they said they're bringing this and Firewatch to the Switch.
Okay.
Which is it's the same dev team that did Firewatch, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So if
you're right. Yeah, it's the same dev team that did Firewatch.
Yeah. And I believe they said they're bringing both of these to the Switch early 2019. Yeah. So should be
next year sometime.
Should be next year.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
It's a game I think that kids could enjoy.
Yeah. Adults can enjoy. Kids can enjoy.
It's that very genuine style of humor.
Yeah.
Where the motions of the goose are just silly.
Yeah.
And it reminds you that geese really are assholes.
Yeah.
And you get to play that goose.
Yeah. You get to play the asshole goose.
Yeah, there was a couple times that the goose is hiding in the bushes and like pokes its head up and honks and then ducks back down, and the guy turns around and what the hell?
Yeah.
just the little nuances are just hilarious.
Yeah.
So definitely a game worth looking out for.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And I think that's going to do it for our PAX Mega Show.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was a little bit more we kind of saw in between, but that was pretty the gist of it.
Lot of good stuff to drink, a lot of good stuff to eat.
Yeah. Oh man.
That Starbucks shocked the hell out of me.
That was actually a really cool Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks at all.
Yeah.
But that place
I'll drink a couple things from Starbucks. Yeah. I didn't expect a full bar. I didn't expect a competent bartender.
They had a very, very unique bar at this roastery at Starbucks.
What did we order between the four of us? 7 drinks there?
Okay, 7 drinks. Each cocktail was about, what, $14?
Yeah. I spent $50 at Starbucks on 3 drinks.
Yeah.
I do not regret 1 second of it.
Oh, no. They were all very unique.
Yep.
That cocktail, that first one I had, I have never had a cocktail change so much from the very first sip to the very last sip.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Yeah. Because you got the spear, the rosemary...
No, that was John.
Oh, that was John. Okay.
I got the one that had, like, it was the bourbon coffee. It was like...
that's right.
It was bourbon sipped
You got the cold brew whiskey.
It was cold brew. They cold brew coffee through some bourbon. I took a picture of them.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, you got it. It was very interesting. And it was just served in a glass with one little ball of ice.
Yeah. All right. So you got a whiskey cloud, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, no, that's the hot drink.
Yeah.
There was the cold brew spiced rum.
No, it wasn't that.
There was the Belvedere.
I think it
which is Campari, barrel-aged vanilla syrup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah. He got a barrel-aged vanilla syrup, Campari, sweet vermouth, and bourbon poured over freshly ground Starbucks Reserve coffee, finished with lavender bitters.
Yes.
And that drink changed dramatically from beginning to end.
Oh, yeah.
John got the Silver Needle Highball, which is Tervana Silver Needle white tea infused with vermouth and elderflower tonic, garnished with fresh rosemary and lemon.
Yeah.
I got a gin matcha, which is yuzu juice, gin, coconut milk, matcha, and demerara syrup, shaken with and finished with a fresh sprig of mint and nutmeg. and it was poured over crushed ice. And
that was really good,
and the
too.
nutmeg was sprinkled over the top.
Of the ice, yeah.
Oh, that was so
Super
good.
Yeah.
I then went on to... I got the Whiskey Cloud. That was my second drink.
Yeah, that's your second one.
And that was pressed Starbucks reserved coffee, Amaro Verna, orange Picacello, syrup, local single malt whiskey, and chocolate bitter served hot with shaken cream and nutmeg. And then I got talking to the bartender.
And she gave you some mystery drink.
She shocked me.
Yeah.
So I got talking to her about how hard it is to find a good cocktail in Portland, let alone in Salem, where I live.
Yeah.
There's like one bar that I go to that makes good cocktails, and I can talk to the bartender and tell him I want a drink, and he'll make that drink.
Yeah.
But it's a rare thing to find. So I handed her my credit card after the second drink and said, okay, we're going to move on to the next place. And she goes, you guys tapping out? And I said, well, we're going to move on to somewhere else. She goes, can I make you one more?
Yeah.
And I said, okay.
Oh, yeah. And she said, like, I'm going to make you something, and you have to tell
me what's in it.
Yeah.
And I went, ooh,
yeah,
I like you. So she goes, hang on to your card, honey. And so she goes and she makes a drink, and she makes it behind the bar and doesn't let me see what's in it.
Can't see what she's doing.
So she comes back, and it's a rocks glass with a single cube of ice, done up like an old fashioned. Like at first glance, it's just an old fashioned.
Yeah.
She's got the orange peel that's spiraled up on a toothpick with a Luxarda cherry on it, and it's dropped in, and it's an old fashioned of some kind.
Yeah.
So I take a drink, and it's this silky smooth single malt whiskey, and I knew it was a single malt right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, it also had a very interesting smoky flavor to
yes.
it. This is the thing that threw me off too.
Yeah.
I go like, you must have put some kind of peaty scotch in there.
Right.
But you said no. I mean,
no.
I thought it had.
It was smoky, but it wasn't the right kind of smoke.
Yeah.
It wasn't peaty at all. In fact, let me. I'm gonna pull up the picture. I know this is a terrible way to show it, but that's the drink she poured me. Okay. Now, most people look at that and go, ooh, that's a really good-looking old-fashioned. Yeah. And it was a good-looking old-fashioned. You taste it immediately, and like I said, it's a really good single malt right off the bat. Yeah. Like a very whiskey-forward, but a silky smooth whiskey with no backbite at all. What was interesting was that smoke finish to it. And I started going through like my list of, okay, what can generate that taste? And I said, I want to say mezcal, but I know you're going to tell me no.
It wasn't mezcal.
Where it's like, it reminds me of mezcal, but not enough to like commit to it.
And then you thought it was tequila.
And then I thought it was tequila. Yeah. And I really, like, to me it tasted like some kind of an agave spirit.
Yeah.
And I said, I know you're going to tell me no, but I have to say, I think there's tequila in this. And she goes, I would not do that to you. And I went, I like you even more. And I went, okay, there's no tequila. And I went, you literally have me. I don't know what's in this. And she goes, that is whiskey cold pressed over coffee, made into an old fashioned, with chocolate bitters.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, it was good.
Smoky flavor came from the coffee, which was very interesting.
Yeah, it was the coffee roast. It was that black roast that you get off the coffee.
Yeah. It was a very dark roast coffee that they had used. He even said it was a special roast.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about going to like the
Verna roast. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. We're in a Starbucks.
Yeah, it was not only just a Starbucks. It was the Starbucks.
It was the Starbucks
specialty roastery.
Yeah. But yeah, I went in, and now as soon as she said it, I went, oh, it's like one of your Verna dark roasts, like your super dark press espresso kind of thing. But you pressed it with whiskey, and then you made it into an old fashioned, and oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good.
So good. Everything in that bar was good.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a good place to end, because holy crap, that was a long show.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We talked about cocktails for 20 minutes. I didn't expect to do that. So, thank you all for watching episode 48.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Of Talking Heads. This has been our PAX West Super Show.
Yep.
John will be back on the show next week. Not sure what we're going to talk about, but I do have a surprise in 2 weeks. So, stay tuned to the channel. Hopefully in 2 weeks.
Hopefully in 2 weeks. If he's still alive.
Little change of scenery.
Maybe. Should be exciting.
It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. Gonna be a hell of a lot of work.
It's gonna be nice,
but
a little change of scenery.
Yeah,
something a little different.
What the hell are you trying to channel right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. You lost me. Would you like that? Maybe a little.
Toodles.
Toodles, everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys.